Warning: the following content contains elements that are not suitable for some audiences. References to sexual assault, abuse, and potential trauma, including discussion of sexual violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
You're the inmate at the time. You out these COs for sexual abuse, pictures, videos. You're public enemy number one.
I have been a fucking junkie since I was a child. They're trained to know better.
This just has a full relationship with you.
He was just stalking me, calling me his girlfriend. He got caught with his hands on me by the visiting officer, and I got yelled at for it.
And you're the first one to out all of this in Idaho.
I just fought and fought and fought.
This is a correctional officer telling you, damn, playa, you look better out of green scrubs.
Yeah.
Whose dick is this? Oh my God. Okay.
That's a violation. They're a predator.
Our prisons aren't doing anything about it.
This is 100% wild chaos.
It is.
Andrea, we have some topics to cover today. So you spent close to 19 years in prison here in Idaho. During that time, you were involved with some COs with sexual abuse, trades, favors, things that went on inside while you were locked up. You ended up coming forward and outing all of this about the Idaho Correctional Facility. And that's when everything kind of turned for you. They started trying to bury this stuff. They tried to hide it. They're making you look like the bad guy. Meanwhile, you have evidence of photos, videos. These COs are in your DMs on Facebook. I've seen a couple of the photos. And you outed this whole entire thing. During this time, 48 other women have come out. Well, more, but a lot of them signed some non-disclosures and didn't want their names mentioned. But at least 48 of them came out publicly stating the same sexual misconduct, abuse, favors, acts, things like that have been going on inside of the system. So you are now out working for a legal law firm, helping fight and helping defend people that are now in the system that are locked up and going through what you have gone through. So we have got some topics to cover today. So as in true fashion of the Wild Chaos podcast, I'm going to hook you up with a nice female tea. We actually never give those away since we don't have very many females on here. But so I want to thank you for coming on and being able to share this story. We got a lot to cover from how you ended up in the system for 19 years and what was going on during that time while you were locked away. So who are you? Where are you from?
I was born in Nampa here in Idaho.
Okay.
My parents were young parents. My mother was 14 years old when she had me.
Oh, wow.
She was a victim of statutory rape.
Okay.
So I grew up in a tumultuous household. We didn't have a lot of money, so we were living with my grandparents a lot. My parents were substance users. I ended up getting sexually abused when I was a child.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I got raped by an adult when I was 13. And I grew up using meth since I was a child. My mom used to give me drugs.
What age?
So I was abused when I was 9 years old. My mom started giving me drugs when I was 10, but she used to put like alcohol in my baby bottles and stuff. Like she would drug us to put us to sleep. She accidentally poisoned our food once with magic mushrooms, and my little brother got poisoned from it. So I grew up in a household that was very drug related. We were the local drug house. When we did finally get a house, all of the teenagers used to party with my parents. So I ended up.
Well, your parents were teenagers themselves, damn near.
Yeah, when I was 14, my mom was 28, and we were at the local drug house. So I've been stealing drugs from my mother. Even I was a drug abuser very young, and then I just started stealing her drugs. I had them my whole childhood.
So you've lived in this life since day one.
Yeah. But my grandparents, were really good people. So like it was kind of toss and turn when we lived there. I had a lot of things. I had food, I had clothes. Whereas when we were out on our own, I didn't have a lot of those things. We lived off of the state. We got food from, food boxes. We didn't even actually have food. Like I won't even eat hamburger helper now because that's all we had. We didn't have milk, butter, hamburger. We just ate the noodles with the hamburger helper, like very poor. And then my dad got a settlement from the state. He got hit in a crosswalk, and so we ended up getting our first house. And then I think I just was a juvenile delinquent from that point on in my life. I got juvenile gun charges. I was a runaway.
We might not even get to the correctional side of this. This might be a two-parter. Oh my God. Okay. That early. How old were you when you got the gun charges?
I was 14. I ran away. I kept running away from my parents because of the substance abuse in the house and the sexual abuse.
Understandable.
And then, my mom ended up calling the cops on me at one point. But, then when I got put in juvenile correctional school, which is where I went to school, I had to go to work and learn. They'd lock us in there so I wouldn't run away. I went to school with a bunch of bruises. My mom had beat me up a lot, really bad. And so they called CPS. And when CPS came to our house, because my mother was giving me drugs and let my adult boyfriend come over, I told CPS I beat myself up. So
so you can keep living that life.
Yeah. And I got put in a mental institution also for trying to kill myself when I was 13. The fire trucks and the ambulance came and took me to Intermountain just because of that lifestyle that I was living at home.
100%.
I have brothers and sisters, which I was in charge of taking care of. So, my parents are too drunk or didn't come home. It was in charge for me to take care of them. I had to do their schoolwork, get them up for school, cook for the house if we even had food.
And you're 13, 14 at this whole entire time?
Yeah.
So you were the mother figure for your siblings.
Mm-hmm.
How many siblings did you have?
I had 3 more in that household. I think I have 16 total now. Because I have a real father, the one that statutorily raped my mother. I didn't find out about that till I was older, and he has 5 kids. And then the father who I know as my father has 7, I think, with his new wife. They have 7, I think, 6 or 7. But I'm the oldest of everybody.
So that all fell on you.
Yeah, but I don't have any actual natural siblings in common with the 2 parents that I have.
I'm just trying to even imagine my daughters in this scenario. How much pressure was on you day to day just to try to take care of these kids as you're trying to survive on your own?
A lot. I got beat a lot. Cleaning the house was my responsibility. Taking care of my brothers and sisters was my responsibility. My parents didn't come home. They would be gone for days. I remember having to call the cops on my mom beating my dad when he was passed out on the floor. I never had a normal childhood. I couldn't make it through school, even though, I'm at the top of my percentile. I should have graduated. I'm in college now, but, I should have had a normal life, and I would have had one had that not been my
Absolutely.
life. It was my responsibility. And when I did end up getting married, I got married under 18, so I was pregnant. And I moved. My little sister moved with me because she was a heroin junkie. She's 2 years younger than me. My other sister has also been in prison. My brother's the only one that's kind of normal.
I don't mean this in a negative way, but I mean, this is 100% a product of your environment. Yeah. And your parents just set you guys up to fail from day one.
Yeah. And they're not even together anymore. My mom lives in Cuna, and my dad lives on disability in Star, which I try to take care of him. I really, in my younger age, I told my dad I wished he would die in a car accident, and then he almost did. While I was in prison, they notified me that my grandmother had been killed as the passenger, and my dad was in the ICU. And I think being a better person than that, I really regretted that I said that to my father. So I get along with him now. He has stepped up and become a better person. My mother hasn't.
Your I'm using the air quotes, stepdad.
Yeah.
And so
the dad I knew.
Okay, the dad you knew. So you have a relationship with him now?
Yeah, he adopted my son. I had my son while I was in prison. My youngest son chained to a bed, and my dad adopted him because I could not give him up to my mom. I would not put him in that environment. My mother's still an active drug user.
So he's cleaned himself up and gotten his life on track since you going away, and your mom has not.
Correct.
Oh, how's she doing these days?
Honestly, she was pretty mad when the stuff came out in the newspaper because they did the same thing on my backstory, and they wanted to do fact verification, and my mother had to go on the record saying that she'd given me drugs and alcohol, and it was a different time. Then she was a young mother, and I forgive her for it, but it's really hard to deal with my mom a lot. I love her. She was my best friend, not my mother. She was only 14 years older than me.
Yeah.
I took care of her, and sometimes she did pull through for me, so I regret that she is still the way she is. But I don't see them. Drug court has made it so that I have an NCO with my family. I'm not allowed to see them. I'm allowed to talk to them on the phone.
What was one of the biggest challenges as a kid filling the role of your parents?
I think, going through being a drug addict myself and being a rebellious teenager, I think the hardest thing for me was running away and leaving them, knowing nobody was going to be there to take care of them.
Damn. So that would draw you back to your siblings.
Yeah, I would go back.
So you were trapped.
I found my sister when I was 18 before I went to prison. I found her locked in a trap house, almost dead, with her lips blue. She had shot up in her foot and overdosed and had an ectopic pregnancy from the people who were raping her. They were adults, and she was 16. So my sister, it took a long time for her to get sober. She's got 1 year longer sober than me. But me and her, that's who my baby was. And so it was really hard for me. And I took her with me. She lived with me for a long time. When I was an adult, when I got out of prison and I'd have a place to live, she'd live with me and take care of my kids.
How's she doing now?
She's sober. She's doing good. She's been sober I have 2 years sober, so she has 3.5 years sober.
Good for her. And good for you. Oh, holy cow. I am sorry that you have had to grow up in a life like that. No, there's no child on this planet that ever deserves that. But I mean, at least you did what you were trying to do to help your siblings. I'm trying to even just process this. Okay, so you got my mind's going in. My mind's going in a million different directions right now. Okay, so you're getting to the 18 range. You're helping your sister, your siblings. Where do you find yourself starting to get in trouble with the law?
Well, after I had my first child, my oldest son, I just barely turned 18, and my mother came over to me and my husband's house. We lived with his parents, and she brought me meth. And having a 3-week-old child and having a relationship I have with my mother, I decided to start using meth again because I'd quit while I was pregnant. And I just got so strung out having postpartum depression that I couldn't go back. I had a juvenile warrant, and I ended up hitting my mother in the face with a coffee mug. And they arrested me on my juvenile warrant. When she called it, they had to call for paramedics. And then when I got out on bond, I just started putting fraudulent checks into my husband's checking account to get money for drugs. And then I let people with a meth lab move into my house because it was easier to get meth if they were cooking it there. The state took away my son. And then I got convicted for the checks. I got a 10-year sentence. I was sentenced to a rider, and I flopped my rider in RDU.
What's that mean?
A retained jurisdiction. So they sent me on that rider program, but I flopped. I got myself 3 DORs while I was in the receiving diagnostics unit. So I got sent to a county. And then when I hit the prison, I was the youngest person in the prison. The prison was just recently built. It was like only 5 years old. I was the youngest person in there. And Olivia Cravens was the parole commission, the person in charge of it, and they told me I had to do the therapeutic community in order to get out. So then I had to go do the therapeutic community. I got out, and then I went back to my husband, who's older than me, by the way. He was an adult when we got married. I went back to him because
How many years?
He was 19 when I was 15.
Okay.
So I guess it's kind of normal, but he was the person that I had known. He taught me how to tie my shoes. He taught me how to cook. Like, that was the adult in my life. So I went back to him. I got to have my son back because he fought to get our son back from the state. And by going back to him, I was able to have my oldest.
Is he clean at that point?
He's an alcoholic. I mean, we used drugs together a lot when we were younger, but he specifically has never been in trouble besides DUIs. So he was grown up a little different than I was.
Do you ever remember a point in your life that you didn't have drugs involved in it?
No. I've never been even sober, even most of the time in prison. This is the longest in my life I've ever stayed out, done good. I am independent. I'm not in relationships. I work 2 jobs. I'm a mentor. I'm in college. I own my own apartment, which is my first apartment ever. I own my own car, and I am a shift lead at one of my second jobs. So
good for you.
It's the longest I've ever been around nobody that's in trouble.
And that's how you have to do it, is almost isolate yourself, because it's, and I'm not speaking on anybody, but I have some buddies that have in and out, and it's almost a drug itself of staying, that they get pulled back into that, even though they have everything handed to them. There's just that magnetic pull that pulls you back to that life, because that's the only life they know.
Yep, that's what I know. Everybody I know is felons. I've survived this whole adult life with felons. The only people I know are felons. It's really hard to adapt to normal people and to sit in a room with normal people. But for me this time, I had to, there had to be a line where I dumped all of my prison policies off of me, and everything I've grown up in the prison system, I had to get rid of it. I could not function as an adult without it, getting rid of it.
You're saying that you have to get rid of all your prison policies, but I'm processing that you have to rewire your whole entire thought process, your life, everything you know you say it almost like nonchalantly in a way, like I had to reset everything, but it's like rewiring somebody that's lived the whole entire life to like, hey, you're no longer living this life. We're changing everything tomorrow, and having to learn that.
Yeah, I had to. I've been in drug court now for 12 months, 13 months. I'm about to be a graduate, and I had to go through all of the rigorous programming. I have to go through counseling. I have to go to AA 3 times a week. Like, I do community service. It's taken a lot to try to get rid of the mannerisms that I've developed over the years.
For sure.
And I had to get rid of everybody on my Facebook that was felons. I'm not allowed to associate with felons, not even my own family. And I mean, I see some of them in AA, but I'm a mentor now. I'm at a place where I think I could make the right decisions, but it hasn't been easy. Like, I don't like law enforcement. I still have the policies that you learn in prison ingrained in me.
A life in there.
Yeah.
20 years plus. I mean, not plus, but damn near.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's like to not think, talking to cops is snitching, to do something that's normal that you guys would call normal. That's not normal to me.
For sure.
Working is not normal to me. Hustling and selling drugs is normal to me. So it's been really hard to change.
Oh, absolutely. Well, good for you for fighting it. I mean, you said, what, you're 2 years now, a little over 2 years of all this?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Mm-hmm.
When you lost your child to the state, what was that like?
I couldn't do what they wanted me to do because they wanted me to come in and be sober. I was a very young mother. As you know, I was 18, and I wasn't really taking care of him as it was because I was methed out. So I numbed it out by just doing more drugs. And then I ended up in prison, and I didn't see him. So when I got out, he didn't know me.
How old was he when you got out? We'll get in. Okay, sorry.
I got out. I paroled out in 2003. So by the time I hit the prison, it was 2001. He was over 2 years old. Yeah, he was eating out of like a little bag, and I had to bribe him with food to even come near me because he didn't know who I was.
For sure. How did that feel?
Sad. I was sad because I was sober, and I wanted to know my son. And I kept telling myself, this is the most important person to me, but how could that possibly be true? I put drugs first. So it was really hard. And then I got pregnant with his brother, and I went through postpartum depression again, and my husband wasn't coming home, and now I had 2 children, and I'm not used to being a mom, and I ended up violating parole because I was using drugs while I was pregnant with my 3rd child. Didn't know I was pregnant, so I had 2 babies and another one inside me. When I got violated, they said I was 5 months pregnant. I had been shooting meth the entire time.
And didn't know?
I didn't know I was pregnant. I just thought I was throwing up from shooting up meth. I didn't think about it, and Olivia Craven topped me out 5 years for that. I got, which I deserved. Obviously, I was using drugs while I was pregnant. I did not know. My husband said he didn't want to be a dad, and he wanted me to have an abortion. I'm like, well, that's cool. I'm in jail. They don't allow that. So I have to have him.
Okay, so you have your first child, go to prison for do a couple year stint there. You get out, meet your first child, get pregnant, have a second child while you're out, have a baby. How long before the third, you were pregnant with the third baby?
Less than a year.
Holy crap. So you have 2 littles and a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're pregnant going back to prison. What is that like?
It was awful. I had found out that my husband is the one he took his alcohol and his weed in the house and then called my parole officer because he said he didn't know how to stop me from using drugs. So that was his solution. He was tired of me getting high. He was never coming home, and I could not be a mother.
Okay, so he kind of did the right thing.
Yeah, and he came in, and I felt like literally betrayed because he could have just taken me to rehab. I felt like, why didn't you take me to rehab?
Yeah, but you think that would have worked at that time?
I don't know. I was so young,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I was really pissed off about that, and I told him I wanted a divorce. And he told me he wanted to have an abortion. I wouldn't do it, so I ended up having my son. By the time I made it to the prison, I got arrested in March. I made it to the prison a month after, and then I had him on May 12th. My dad came and picked him up. I was locked in isolation. They lock you in isolation then, so I saw my baby for 2 hours. I named him. I tried to name him so he would be strong, So I named him Christian so that he would be like a follower of Christ. And I told him to have a heart of a lion. I named him Lee, and then I gave him to my dad. I didn't see him for 5 years.
Damn.
And then that time, I didn't program. They told me to top. So
What does that mean?
they told me to finish out my sentence, my 5-year sentence in prison, that I wasn't going to get paroled again. And so I ended up as an an administrative segregation inmate. I broke every rule that you could think of. I got in a relationship with a female who was serving life, a very notorious case here in Idaho. I decided I wanted to stay with her in Unit 4, which was maximum security, even though it was not a maximum security inmate, and got myself ad-segged. And I ended up slitting my wrists in there. My dad had a heart attack on Christmas. They told me that my dad had a heart attack, and my prison wife had told me that I needed to come back to Unit 4. They put me in minimum to come back. I kept trying to come back, and they wouldn't. And they told me my dad had a heart attack, so I slit my wrist in a prison cell and bled out. I got tattoos covering them now, but I had to have a lot of stitches. I slit my ankles too.
And you went up and down, not across.
Yeah.
So you weren't playing.
No, I think there was like 70 stitches in my arms and 4 in my legs. And when I came back, she told me she didn't actually tell me to kill myself. She told me to kill myself. When I came back, it took me too long to get back. So it was just a culmination of everything, I think.
Were you using at that time?
No. I mean, we drank and stuff in prison, like using other medications. I was like brand new kind of still to the prison environment, so I wasn't like fully mixed up yet.
Okay.
I was still a youngster.
Can I ask you? I'm going to ask a lot of personal questions. So if there's anything that I do ask, don't take it personal. It's just out of curiosity. And I don't mean any disrespect by any questions that I ask. I kind of want to just backtrack a second. You had a child in prison.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like?
It's awful. It was terrible. I remember having him with me and my son was there in my stomach, and then 2 hours later he was gone, and I was going through postpartum just holding my stomach crying, like wish he was still there. It was the only family that I had in prison with me. And I remember when I came back to the prison, it was like one of the worst experiences. The nurse was a very awful person. And I asked her for ibuprofen because I had just had a baby. And she was like, it's not pill pass time, and shut the door in my face. I'm locked in an isolation. I don't know if my son's been picked up yet because I cannot come out of isolation to use the phone. I don't know anything about how he's doing. I don't know if my dad's made it. I can't have ibuprofen. And I'm just laying in my bed like I'm going to hang myself in the closet. I'm going to wrap the sheet around my neck and I'm going to hang myself. And later that night, I just remember this so vividly. The nurse finally came in to give me my medication. And she didn't have the keys or a radio on her. So when she came in, she let the door shut.
So you're both trapped in there?
No, she's trapped in there with me, and there's no other staff in anywhere to be seen because it's late night pill pass, and she's locked in the ward crying. And she's like, how do I get out? And I was thinking, well, I could...
if I knew how to get out, I wouldn't be here.
Or I could just stuff you in the closet because of the way you treated me, but I'm really glad you're stuck in here with me.
Did you have a conversation with her about that?
I said, you're lucky I'm not a bad inmate. And I went over to the windows, and then she was the nurse was like, I'm writing SOS, like with the soap bar on the outer window. I'm like, dude, and then I just knocked on the window and flicked the lights on and off, and I got the people across there's a space, and I got them to go get the cops to come out and let the nurse out. And I was like, you're welcome. Remember that. And next time you don't give people their ibuprofen.
After having a baby?
Yeah.
And you said you were chained to the bed?
Yeah.
They chain you to the bed while you're having a baby?
Medium custody. My leg was chained to the bed. And the cop that took me wanted to take my baby. She was like, I'll take him. I don't think he should go to your family. And I was like, yeah, my dad's coming.
Wait. So when you say cops, you're talking COs.
The CO, yeah.
So a CO is asking to take your baby?
Yeah.
Like to take custody of your baby?
Yeah. Her name was Miss Mueller. She eventually got fired because somebody died under their custody they didn't make them stand up during count, and they didn't realize they died in their bed. So 3 of those COs were let go. She was one of them. Having a baby in prison is it was worse in my time. I think it's still bad now. They get to spend more time with their babies. I didn't. I was medium custody. They were short-staffed. I met him for 2 hours.
You only got to spend 2 hours with your child?
Yeah.
How long until you saw him again?
5 years.
So now you have a 5-year-old,
a 7-year-old,
and a 10-ish-year-old?
I think 2000. My son was born in 2000. My one other son was 2004, and the other one was 2006.
Damn.
Yeah.
So when it came to slitting your wrists, what did that feel like when you were doing it?
I felt happy, I guess. I laid down in my own blood, and it just started surrounding the cell floor, and I was just like, dude, I'm finally out of here. It was,
You found a relief to it?
yeah. And then the cop that was doing the rounds found me and they called a code. I remember 4 huge officers having to come. They were grabbing pads and putting them on my arms. They carried me down the stairs like I was a rag doll because I was on the top tier. I had to go in and they didn't take me to the hospital. The on-staff physician or whatever is the one who stitched up my arms. And then when they put me in the isolation cell after that, which was a cell with nothing, not even toilet paper, nothing but your Kevlar vest or whatever that you got to wear. I picked them out. I picked my stitches out. They had to restitch them, so it left a worse scar.
You picked your stitches out?
Yeah.
What did that feel like?
I just remember being numb. I just remember I didn't want them in there. Like, I just didn't want to be alive.
And you slit your ankles, you said?
I did.
Where? That's a thing too?
Yeah. You can't really see in the
You
dark.
go across or up or
I
down?
went across on both of my ankles. Left really bad scars. And then my arms, which I had to have a lot of tattoos to cover up because little kids like used to look at them and visiting. And when I was a server and
Can I see if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah.
And
This is right here, the dark part. Those are my...
you went almost to your elbow.
Yeah, I went all the way up here. These are the stitches on this one. It's dark right here because I was trying to get them covered up. Here.
You didn't just cut once. You
Yeah, I filleted my arms open.
weren't feeling. You were that numb.
I didn't want to be in prison anymore.
You got to that point that it was taking your life was your only option.
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
It's hard to be in there, you know. I was a nonviolent offender for passing checks, and I guess that's not a excuse. I was too young to know the nature of the consequences when I made those choices, I think.
That is one of my problems with our correctional facilities. Like, you are a prime example of like that. You're telling me that's our best option is to put you as an example in there as a 18-year-old and going that have had it.
They could have picked Job Corps. They could have picked something to give me skills. Like, I get it. You're throwing all this money to put me in like $76,000 a year to keep me in prison as a nonviolent offender, whereas $50,000 a year in a Job Corps type program that teaches you how to make a bed, cook, have a job, a work release center. Any of those things would have made the trajectory of my life totally different.
But
that
instead,
wasn't
you're
what
just
happened.
tossed in a cell.
Just put up in prison, the only prison that we have.
That's why I think that I have such a problem with our correctional facilities because of especially the nonviolent inmates that are in there. And you're a prime example. Your first stint was what, 2 years?
Yeah, I did 2, and then I topped out what was left 5 on a nonviolent offense. But yes, I did use drugs while I was pregnant, and I know that that's heinous. But
Absolutely.
I didn't know I was pregnant. I like, if I would have known. And this is my fault, and I understand that. If I would have known I was pregnant, I would not have done that. I did not do that to my other children.
Damn. So you slit your wrist. How long were you laying there before someone found you?
Tear checks are half an hour, so in between tear checks.
Did you time it so they walked by? Then
I
you
waited
did it?
till she walked by, yeah.
So you knew you had 30 minutes to bleed out?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously they found you beforehand?
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of blood in the cell, though. The janitors were pissed when I went back. They told me it was like a lot. I didn't have a blood transfusion. I mean, I don't remember that. I remember it being like chaotic when they were trying to fix my arms. I remember a lot of staff members being there, and I went in and out of consciousness, but I don't think they gave me a transfusion.
What was the point of slitting your ankles?
To bleed out faster.
Is that a thing? I've never heard of this before.
I don't know. I just
Okay,
thought
I wasn't
it might.
sure if this was okay.
Thought it might.
You were at that point. Okay, so where are we? You just had your 3rd kid, but that kid was in prison. They take him after 2 hours, sends you into a spiral. Obviously, you're in your hormones. I mean, I couldn't even imagine you're talking natural birth in there. I mean, did you have epidural, anything, or they just let you just
No, and
have at it?
those hospital people were rude too. They're like, "Oh, do you want Coca-Cola? You meth addicts always like Coca-Cola." I was like, "Okay, you're a piece of shit." Like, thank you.
That's how the nurses are
Yeah.
talking to you?
Yeah, that's how she talked to me. I don't even like Coca-Cola, so there's that. I drink Diet Coke, but she's like, guess us meth addicts like the Coke. They were ignorant.
For sure. Absolutely. So this all goes down. You get stitched up. You picked your stitches back out, which is, that would give me the heebie-jeebies of pulling those out. Then what? I mean, is there repercussions for hurting yourself in prison like that?
I got a weapons possession.
For
Possession of a
razor
sharpened weapon, yeah. They
How
gave
did
me
you
that.
get the razor blade?
When they tried to separate me and my prison wife, they sent me back to minimum custody, and I knew I was going to go back to her, so I busted the heads off my razors so that we could shave. You can't shave over there, and I'd put them in my shoes because they give you your shoes. They're cheapskates. They're not giving you different shoes. You're getting your same shoes when you go through the units. I knew that they would give me my shoes.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, like I said, she told me to kill myself because I'd taken too long to get back. I just really tried to get back there.
Did you dabble in women before prison, or was this a prison thing?
Prison.
Why? Why in prison?
Like, she looked like a boy.
Yeah.
And she was very convincing. She was serving life, and she was calling me baby and beautiful, and like, it seemed like it was a good thing to try, and it was not. It was the worst thing I ever did in my life. It was really hard to get rid of her. We ended up with mixed fates over the years, and like just recently I finally put my foot down to her. Like, every time she calls, I would always come back, but like this time I just know, dude, when I got out of prison, it's like non sequitur, and she came to live with me because she won her the Innocence Project took her case. It was like a huge case, and she ended up getting out also. We were using meth together, and there was another female that was with us. I had got a girlfriend, and while I was gone at work, they robbed my house, went out to Nampa, and my girlfriend got stranded there, and nobody would give her a ride back. She got on the back of a motorcycle and died on her way home, and I blame Sarah for that. So this time when I got out, I was like, dude, I cannot with you. I'm not. She was really upset. She kept begging me, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm not even gay. Really, I'm not. And I don't want to be in this tumultuous relationship with you. You're fucking chaotic.
But she had her hooks in you, though.
Dude, just because I thought she was my soulmate. I just was with her so long in prison. Like, we were together for so long. She was my wife. That I just had a soft spot for her. But me, I'm doing good. She's not. She is not doing good. And I'm not going to I'm not going to make an exception. There's no exceptions for the life that I have now for that. So
Absolutely.
I had to cut her off.
What's the day-to-day life inside of a women's prison like?
Oh, I mean, it's just so crazy. I thought being in Pocatello Women's Correctional Center was crazy. You know, it's very sexualized. I remember on New Year's coming home from the kitchen, coming in with all the stuff to make alcohol, and there was one girl having sex with one girl on this bed. There was a girl having sex with a girl on this bed. Like, it's a very sexual environment.
So this is like some Orange is the New Black shit. Have you seen that series?
I haven't seen it, but I have heard, and I would say that it's a sexualized environment. Everybody's got girlfriends. They've got 4 or 5. All of the fights that break out are about girlfriends. People are constantly, drinking, getting high, tattooing. The cops, as you know, which you're going to get into, are very much turn a blind eye to a lot of stuff. And prison is just, it's not like a California, like I'm going to stab you kind of prison. It's like, you looked at my girlfriend, I'm going to beat your ass prison.
So you're getting a lot of fights in there.
Yes. I had to get stitches in my eye from a lifer that hit me in the face with a coffee mug from the top bunk because I didn't want to live in that cell, and the cops forced me in there and put their foot on the door and watched me get beat up. And I had to go get stitches right on my eye.
My God.
The
This
cops-
is the day-to-day
Yeah.
what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
How many fights did you get in there? Or were you just seeing fights
I got beat up 3 times in 1 year. I didn't fight back. And I'll get into that with you because it was over Priya stuff. And the cops were like putting me in situations for that to happen. So 3 times in 1 year there, and then probably like 4 or 5 in my other duration. Some of them didn't get told on. I remember like grabbing a rider off of her bed and pulling her off of it once. And
A what?
A rider. I was a timer. I got ostracized to the rider facility.
What is that?
Like they're small time. They're doing 6-month programs.
Okay.
I was a timer. Timers are not usually at a rider facility, but I got ostracized there because of the stuff that happened at Sicky with the staff. I couldn't go to any facilities, so I had to go to the rider unit.
This is after you outed everything?
No, I didn't out it, but it's after stuff they knew, which I'll tell you about.
Okay,
But
okay.
a cop ended up resigning, and the other cops, his coworkers, blamed me because I got caught with the stuff he gave me. So I ended up getting in a fight at the rider unit, but she didn't tell. But
What's the rider unit? Sorry, I'm just trying to paint a picture.
So when you get sentenced to prison, instead of going to prison, there's something called a retained jurisdiction program.
Okay.
It's a 6 to 8 month program in lieu of prison, but it's still IDOC property.
Okay.
So
Is
you
it like
go
a
there-
living home or something?
You go and do your programming. You still have like the scrubs and your ID and stuff, but you're not considered a termer. You're doing this program, and if you do it, you don't have to go to prison.
Okay, this is your last chance.
It's like a strict programming pre-prison, but it's in.
Are you going home every day and then checking back in, or you're at the
No.
system and then you get to go do this?
You're locked in there just like prison, but
okay,
you're not considered prison.
Okay, you're just not in the main facility, but you're still on the property.
Yep.
Tracking.
Still
All right.
IDOC cops, still IDOC food,
So
everything.
you're over there, and that's some more shit went down there?
Oh, I mean, 2 of my Prius, which I had on my phone, happened there. One of the
What's
cops,
a PREA? I'm sorry.
the Prison Rape Elimination Act, the zero tolerance for sexual activity with officers. So
Okay.
2 of them. So like when you go to prison, some of the other main prisons, the men's prison, they're like all on a row. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
They're all like lumped together. The first building when you drive on there is the Ryder facilities called South Boise Women's Correctional Center.
Yep.
It had riders and timers together at one time. They were just on different tiers. And the men's prisons, they have to have workers. And they were using the women's prisons to have female workers go into the men's prisons.
That doesn't make sense.
So I was one of the first females that ever went inside IMSI. That is where one of my Prias with the officer happened.
Oh, so when we say PREAs,
Prison, the sexual activity, the sexual stuff that happened with the one.
and that's the form, that's the acronym for the form that gets filled out, or the act?
Right, the act.
The act?
It didn't happen until 2011, though. So prior, when I was in Pocatello Women's Correctional Center prior in South Boise, that act didn't exist. We didn't have cameras all over on our tiers. We didn't have anything like that.
So what was going on then?
The same, like the worst, the most. And
What's the worst?
like some of my friends have non-disclosure agreements from those times specifically, where they were having sex with officers and somebody told, and the officers got the chance to resign, and then the state settled, and they signed NDAs saying they wouldn't tell anybody what happened.
Where are they having sex in prison?
You can go in the closets, the DHO rooms. Like when we were working in the kitchen, Stetler was having sex with Jamie in the staff bathroom, in the freezer. We leave the facilities. So what happened to me was in a janitor's closet up inside of administration. I was left alone in the control station where no inmates are allowed to be, where the armory is. And I was jiggering for the cop to have sex with my friend in the back mechanical room.
Wait. This dude left you in...
I got caught. The Bureau of Prisons came in, and I didn't know where they came through the wrong door. I could not yell for the cop. And so I got caught in the armory by myself in the control station, unmanned, with contraband.
Meanwhile, your friend's having sex with a CO in a
In
closet.
the back. And I started yelling, Borbin, hey, Mr. Borbin. And he was like, why are you in here alone? It was a whole administration of, warden, chief of prisons. Like, why are you sitting in this control station? Where is the officer? Whose shit is that? And I have no answers. I don't know what to say.
And your friend's having sex with the CO.
In the back. And he had brought me stuff. And then they rewound the cameras. To see where I got this stuff from. Because I'm not supposed to have it.
Yeah.
It's sitting next to me.
What did you have?
I had a Pepsi that I wasn't supposed to have. Tobacco.
Which this CO's giving you.
Yes. I also had a cell phone, but I didn't get caught with that. He was keeping it for me. My mother brought it in a Christmas decoration box. And he was the one who was charging it for me. So I had to...
Why was he charging it for you? What were you doing for him?
I was jiggering for them. And then
That's what it's called, jiggering?
Yeah, and then I ended up having a relationship with him too. He was on my JPay. He was coming to see me while I was at the work center in his uniform.
So I was not prepared for this conversation. How does a CEO approach a female inmate for sexual acts?
They don't really. Just like the situations vary. But for me, with the first one at IMSI, I had a gang member boyfriend who was in A block. Okay, it is unheard of for females to be inside IMSI.
Which is all males.
Right. And I was the inmate worker that was cleaning the front.
Who thought this was a good idea?
Well, Sergeant Lincoln's the one who was my boss. And they decided they wanted the prison painted. So I'm inside the lowers where no females have ever been, watching dudes jack off in their cells, seeing every nasty thing you could possibly think of, because women don't go in there.
Because they're just watching you.
Yeah, so I'm in there doing
So they
that.
throw this lamb into a lion's den. How many other females were there?
I had 4 people on my paint crew. I was lead paint. I was also lead janitor and lead
Why
ILD.
aren't they getting males to do this?
They do now, but they didn't then.
This was done on purpose.
So
It has, I mean, I feel like I can ask my 12-year-old, be like, hey, do you think male and female inmates should ever cross patch? Be like, absolutely not. Who approved that?
I don't know, but
so they just walk fresh meat into IMSI, which is max security.
Yeah.
IMSI wasn't Gladiator.
No, ISCC is Gladiator.
Okay.
IMSI is where all of the, death row,
They're putting women inmates in death row
to come in there and clean.
And you're watching dudes just masturbate all day, staring at you?
Staring at me at the door, jacking off. I watched so many things that you couldn't even. I was there for when they started. There was a riot or a disturbance. They had to start shooting out the bean slots at all of the inmates and dropping tear gas. I had to be evacuated through their lowers. And for me, my boyfriend at the time, he was a gang member, AK. He was there on the A block. And he wanted me to bring in tobacco from visiting, pick it up out of the visiting, and come and drop it in there. So in order for me to do that, I had to make friends with the cop. So I made friends with this cop.
How do you make friends with a cop?
Let's
say COs. We'll just say COs.
The CO. So I just started talking to him. You could tell that he was pervy.
What are signs that COs are giving you that they're perverts?
Like following us around, being overly talkative, going in the janitor's closet, just being weird, asking me if I want stuff out of the vending machine, letting me have stuff that I'm not supposed to have, like just weird stuff.
Little grooming things.
Yeah, like you want some of this cake. I ate some of their cake. Like he was just, you could tell. So then I asked him, I was like, hey, do you think you could get into my Google for me and get some of my pictures? Because I want to have some of the pictures that are stored in my Google if I give you my login. So I gave him my login, and then when I went back to work, I seen him. He's like, I saw your sexy pictures in your Google. And I was like, okay, nailed. I got you, right?
Now
take
you
me to
know
lowers.
You have him.
Yeah, take me to lowers. Take me in here so I can go drop this stuff off. And so he logged into my Google. Now that's noted because Google keeps track of it. He has my pervy pictures.
What an idiot.
And then I'm in the closet late at night. I stayed there late. I went into the janitor's closet in IMSI, which is like by the desk in admin. I was dumping out the mop bucket, and he normally isn't there. He's like a rover. He came in. He came up behind me. He flipped me around. He started kissing me. He put my hand on his dick. A door. You could hear a door. I pushed him. It was a lieutenant. She came up. She saw us both in the closet together, and she was like, you go to medical. And then they redlined me, and they noted it was for suspicion of tobacco. I was no longer allowed at the facility. That's how they handled that. So I got assigned to Sicky.
Was that your first time being approached by a CO? Like being, I guess, I don't want to say sexually abused, but is that the first time?
First one that ever touched me. That's the first one that ever touched me.
What was going through your head?
I didn't want him to. I kind of thought he was gross, you know?
Okay.
And he was married. I saw his pictures. He showed me on his phone pictures of his family. So, I don't know.
So he's grimy.
Yeah, so grimy because his wife was like an older lady, even older than him. And they have 2 or 3 kids together and showing me these pictures. So I just kind of felt like he was a puke. But where I lived, like all of the other girls were in relationships with officers. Like one of my roommates was sleeping with a sergeant. Like I went out to the ILD shed and watched for them several times. One of my other roommates used to flash her boobs to this corporal so that we could have special privileges and our room wouldn't get searched. The problem with like theirs is once you get in a relationship with people that are in your facility, like our room would get constantly tossed. So the sergeant would have a reason to go in there and see her so they could be alone together in our room. He'd be constantly micromanaging everything we do. He would be, getting us up at 6 to go out for special projects so that he could be with her. It's annoying. They go through all of your messages. They go through all of your mail.
So they almost become like a psycho boyfriend in there?
They're control freaks.
Okay. So these COs are taking advantage of female inmates, you and your friends. Then these male COs are now developing a jealousy streak and they're getting controlling over a female inmate, and some of these guys are married?
Yeah, they're all married. All of them have been married except for one of mine that was a commissary worker. He's the only one that hasn't been married. Like some of the messages on my phone, I even ask him, how's your wife? How's your wife doing?
Holy shit. So this is just a thing.
Yeah, it's normal. Maybe, I seen some of the social media comments as maybe it's not normal for some of the shorter termers, and I understand that. But once you've been in it, you get in the mix, you have
Why is a CO going to pick somebody that's going to be out soon? That's not their MO. They want long term in there. They get some work. They get fun at work.
That's how I got all of my jobs, having the favoritism of the staff, having a staff member letting me be in these privileged places. That's how I got some of the contraband that I got is from having these privileged jobs that nobody else gets.
But what were you having to do to get those privileged jobs?
Stuff I didn't want to do, obviously. Like letting somebody disgusting kiss me was, disgusting. For tobacco, like I'm letting you make out with me because I wanted to chew that bad. It's like, repulsive in hindsight, but when you're in the mix of it, you're like, I got tobacco. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care that you're touching me and groping me. I don't care that you're destroying my life because I have tobacco. You're letting me have cigarettes.
That's just the mindset of inside the walls, though. What was the first time that you actually had sexual interaction with a CO?
That guy putting his hand on my dick or on his dick was the first time that I ever physically had touched one. I have been involved, as you know, with all of the other situations like jiggering, covering up for the staff that was sleeping with my friends. Just all of the sexualized environment was very normal to me, but he was the first. And when that happened and I got redlined, I got another job at Sicky. And Sicky was not a co-ed prison yet. Only PRC was females.
Okay.
And so I started being a floor janitor over there, and you could tell that cop, and he was hot too. Like this was a hot cop for once, and you could tell he was like something was wrong with him. And he would follow us down the hallways, and he was super flirty, super nice. He would play videos for us that we were not supposed to be watching, like on YouTube, and letting me go outside and talk to my friends that were at the men's prison at the gate without busting me.
Damn, you guys get to get away with everything in there. These fucking COs, bro. What a bunch of weak ass dudes.
And this guy had a lot of girlfriends. Apparently, he was hitting on a lot of other girls. I've always wondered why the girls would go in there and they'd spend hours inside talking to him, but we were on the outer part and they're on the inner part. And so just made friends with him. And he, as I told you, let my mother bring in a phone inside of a box of Christmas decorations. So I had an illegal phone right off the bat. He was cooking us dinner from home, or his wife, one or the other, was cooking us dinner and bringing it to the prison so we could eat it in the staff lounge, buying us
that
stuff.
dude's bringing you leftovers from when his wife made it.
Yeah, dude, it had to have been. He brought us Thanksgiving. It was like everything. We had Thanksgiving from his house in the back. We actually went to work and ate dinner with him at Thanksgiving. And
you're hooking up with this dude?
No, my friend. I was like kind of shy because he was so hot. So I was not. I was just getting the angle out of getting stuff from him, she was the one who was making out with him, getting in a relationship with him. I gave him a login for JPay, and he used his credit card so that we could talk to him when we weren't at the facility, and so that we were all like able to talk to each other because he was calling us his family. And then, as you know, I was sitting in the control station when that stuff happened.
Yeah.
And then after that, they were around the cameras and saw that there were multiple instances of me alone in the armory in the control station at PRC, and that he had us there for many hours, that we shouldn't have been coming home at 3 a.m. Like our shift should have been done at 10 p.m., but we were coming home at 3.
How is the prison not picking up on that? Because obviously there's logs, there's check-ins, who even knows at this point, but as a civilian, is there not a protocol? Like they're logging and you're being tracked of all of your movements. How are they not looking at you and like, why is she coming in why do we have inmates being moved at 3 o'clock in the morning? 1, and 2, why is the same CO bringing them back this late all the time?
We said we were the floor crew. Floor crew works at night.
Oh, and your friend's over there just banging this dude.
Yeah.
Good for both of them, I guess. I mean, if you're going to be locked up in there.
Well, when that happened, I mean, that's how we did see it. Yes. So that's why I never, ever, it was normalized for us.
I mean, okay. I could see from your angle, right? If I'm a male inmate and I got some hot CO and she's like, give me, I'm going to milk the shit out of that. 100%. But as a CO being married on the outside, giving you guys his credit card, logging in the Gmails, like that's.
And he's ex Air Force also. Most of the people there were military. He's ex Air Force. He was an Air Force something or other. I've seen all of his uniforms and stuff. So he said when I have messages on my phone, because I asked him, is it my fault that you got fired or that you quit from IDOC? Why did you work at IDOC in the first place? And he said it was more in line with what I used to do for the military.
Oh, so he's probably an MP or some
I don't know.
Air Force, whatever.
Yeah.
But oh my God. Okay. What's the wildest thing that you have seen inside the women's prison?
God, there's just so many.
I know, it's such a loaded question.
When Sicky became co-ed, the whole North Dorm got transferred over, and they started bringing us in the busloads over to the men's prison. I think the amount of drugs that I'd seen in prison comparably to then was nothing. And we had an heroin overdose back to back. We got locked down, and then the goon squad came in and started arresting people in the middle of the night like ninjas because
My buddy was part of the goon squad.
how many overdoses we had. And I think the stupidest thing about that was that you could clearly see on the tire that they were out there shooting up. She overdoses, leaves. They don't go search the tire, comes back, gets put in GP, and goes back out to the tire and shoots up again.
What's the tire?
It's just this tire, just a tire that's sitting outside in the rec yard. They had hidden all of their syringes and dope inside the tire. So after she overdoses and comes back from the hospital, she goes back out and overdoses again. And I think the amount of drugs and sexual activity that was happening inside Sicky at that time, I cannot even believe we were in a prison. Like, that was the most dangerous time of all of my time doing time, was when Sicky transferred to co-ed, and it was completely wild there. There were fights daily, probably 5 or 6 fights a day. There were several officers having sex and bringing contraband in. There were overdoses almost daily. There was massive amounts of drugs. This is a shitty thing to say, and I'm not saying I'm not responsible, but I walked into the bathroom in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. There was all these people in the bathroom picking each other's backs and popping their faces. And
that's what you women do, yeah.
Like so high in the middle of the night, snorting rails. I walked in, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll just come back. And they're like, no, now you're doing it. I had 2 years that I had not touched drugs. Up until the point I walked into that bathroom, I'm like, no, I'm good. And they're like, well, you're not walking out of this bathroom, so you're either walking out high or you're not walking out. So I ended up relapsing, which is awful. And I laid on my bunk the whole night, tripping out the cops were going to get me. It was like the worst thing that ever happened. Because the cops are right there.
Girl, we got to talk. Holy shit. So all these women were just going to beat you up if you...
Yeah, because they didn't want me to snitch.
Would you have snitched?
No. I mean, I probably would have told my friends.
Yeah, of course.
Like, hey, they're all in there fucked off. They're in there picking pox, having a picnic, having a picnic. Like, picky McDonald's in there. I would have talked shit, but I wouldn't have told the cops on them.
So now that they force you to do drugs or beat you up, you relapsed. Did you get back in the drugs then, or was that just a one-time thing?
That was the only time that I used meth while I was at Sicky. But after that, I just started getting balls to the wall, like drunk, snorting gabapentins, like just doing the most.
All because of that?
Yeah.
How are you getting alcohol inside the prison?
We make it.
How do you make alcohol?
There's lots of different ways to make it.
What's your favorite way?
Specifically, I did try one where the baker stole the baker's yeast and then they mixed it with lemon juice.
Yeah.
So that only took like 3 days, and it was more like alcohol. Whereas like we're using sugar and putting all of the juices in a bag and then putting bread in there and ketchup, and that one's kind of barfy and it's got a lot of sugar in it, so it makes you sweat a lot.
Holy shit. I've talked to some buddies that have done some time, and they get really innovative with being able to cook things inside a prison. What were some of the things, and how did you cook inside prison?
Look, I can make pretty much anything because I've been in prison for so long, you know. But I think to tell you some of the grossest things I will not eat is when they use grape jelly and make Dr. Pepper noodles, which is so disgusting to me. I do not like that.
Dr. Pepper noodles?
I won't even touch ramen noodles. I literally fucking hate them. But like I like to make like... you take crackers and then you smash them up and then you add water and then you reheat it. You put it on a lid and then you reheat it and then it turns into pizza.
How do you reheat it?
You put it in the microwave.
Oh, okay.
So you just cook the wet crackers. You lay them out like a paste and then you reheat it and then you can make pizza on it. I could also make cinnamon rolls because you could take the bread, make it wet, and then put the cinnamon sugar in, roll it, cut it with your ID, and then cook it back together. And it comes out of cinnamon rolls.
Impressive. I love hearing this. Well, and I'm not comparing, this is apples and oranges, but you know, being deployed overseas in MREs and you just get so over it, you have to, so you start mixing and there's little creative ways, but obviously I am not locked away for years and years on end. It was just forced to be able to eat that bullshit. But it's always fun because you just see some guy mixing some other stuff. You're like, oh shit, I never thought of that. That's why I always like to ask with somebody that's done some time, because I've heard guys doing hot plates, like they undo the plugs on the wall and hook it to tables and stuff to like cook the grill on pretty much. Have you seen that happen?
I haven't, not in the women's prison, but I've heard they're very much more creative than us. Like they know how to make tattoo guns. The women's don't. We stick and poke.
You were just doing the old school stick and poke?
Yeah.
Did you get any tattoos while you were in?
I have a lot of tattoos that were stick and poke. I've had to have a few covered up. I had to have my chest covered up when I got out.
No shit. Mm-hmm. How long is it painful? What are they using?
So you just like with mine, we still a cop G4 pen because that ink is like permanent.
Okay.
But a lot of the other girls will take Crayolas and smash them. You smash the Crayolas, and then you like put shampoo and toothpaste in it, and then you take one of the weird flexi pens, and then you put a staple in it. You sharpen the staple, and then you wrap a bunch of freaking thread around it, and then it makes the pen for them to hunt and poke. There's other ways to make it too. Like other people use different. I know the men, what they do is they take an apple, they hollow it out, they fill it with hair grease. They put toilet paper in it, they stick it in the toilet paper thing, and they light it, and then they scrape the ash off of that, and they use that for their ink. But the women don't do that.
Does this stuff ever get infected?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and some of the tattoos don't stay. A lot of them are really ugly. Like when I got out of prison, it was one type of way. And then when I went back on my parole violation, I called my mom and I was like, am I fucking clown world, dude? Why do these fucking people have tattoos all over their faces? Little fucking weird punt and pokes. Everybody's faces were covered. I was like,
women's?
Yeah. Like, dude, that's not happening to me. I'm too old. I'm not doing that to my face.
So the women tattooing their faces, are they on like another level of crazy in there?
I don't know. They think it looks good. I don't know. But I was like, this is clown world. It's like ICP.
I'm going to speak for all men and say that doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't.
I'm speaking for all men at this point.
I've
seen some face tat pictures of women. You're just like,
no. Yeah.
Some of them actually were like beautiful beforehand. They had like before and afters, and you're just like,
Yeah, their eyebrows are like half here and half up. They got 208.
They got the chola eyebrows that go all the way. That's how my wife used to rock hers back in the day.
One girl had loyalty,
Mom.
her face tattooed loyalty, but misspelled it. We're like, there's your sign.
No. Okay. Well, what other tattoos? Let's talk tattoos for a minute.
One girl, we called her the call out because every time she would get a girlfriend, she would put their name on her face and then she would tattoo over it. So it's like the whole call outs on your face. You dated everybody. It's like tattoos of girls' names all over your whole face.
I had a pretty good assumption before this conversation, but women are the problem of all relationships. You guys are batshit crazy when it comes to relationships. I mean, I've seen stats and so it's like women on women have like the highest abuse, are the highest, the divorce first. I mean, like they compared it to like, gay men versus gay women, and like the lesbian couples are so much more just
toxic
and violent, and all the cop calls were so much more than like the gay dudes were just like wanting to chill and do whatever they're doing. But
it's true.
It's hilarious. I can only imagine just
it's like
years of drama
constantly over everything. They're literally, since the day I walked into prison, it's girlfriend drama. Or even the worst relationship I've ever been in was with my wife. Like literally the most abusive, worst relationship I've ever been in.
Was with a woman.
Yeah. She's awful. Like, she's emotional. It's like she used to tell me to go to my bed and face the wall because she didn't want the cops looking at me. I couldn't talk to anybody. She would punch the door at my face. She would lose her shit, literally. If anybody was talking to me, she would call me slut, call me a whore.
So how were you hooking up with the CEOs? And
we got separated. She was a lifer. So
she's still in?
No, she won her Innocent Project. The Innocent Project helped her because she claimed that she didn't do it after spending 15 years in prison, and they did not actually take her charge away. They reinstated her probation, or her original offer of probation. And then she got out, and then she got 3 new felonies, and then they posted it in the newspaper because she was leaving my house, and she had a syringe in her pants, and her whole story to the cop was, "They're not my pants," which was like a pun on, I didn't do the other crime. So it was like this big joke in the newspaper, So she was she's volatile. She was like way too much for me. She turned me straight.
Brought you back to the dark side, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You got to be batshit crazy to drive you back to men, as men are so bad, Holy shit. I need to have more conversations with female inmates that this is, because I talk to males and it's all just gang shit and like rival stuff, or they got to represent their crew. But you guys are just finding anything to fight over in the women's side.
Yeah.
On top of having married CEOs just trying to hook up with you all day.
Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of a vague question, but of all the male CEOs that you're dealing with, what do you think the percentage is out of them that are hooking up with female inmates?
I think 1 out of every 3, maybe.
Oh, wow.
I mean, from being in there so long, I don't know if it's just my prison ways of being able to navigate the system more. It would be more for us who've done more time because we're more familiar with them. We're more comfortable with them. They know us.
Yep.
They treat us on a different level than the people who are just freshly coming in and aren't.
Oh, yeah. They're dumb. They're pretty dumb, but I don't think they're that dumb. I mean, to have somebody fresh or is not going to have that much time in, why are you going to give things up? But they look at somebody like, it's just prey. And these guys are just predators taking advantage of your time and a hard time in your life. These guys are just 100% capitalizing on that.
And they know we won't tell.
Why won't you tell?
Well, like, okay, well, with Bourbon, we'll get to that. When we got caught, I got redlined. He was my friend. Like, I considered him, my friend. He'd been giving me all these things.
Let's back up to how the friendship started. Okay, you said his name's Bourbon?
Bourbon. His name was... His last name is Bourbon.
Does he still work there?
No, this is what happened. This is why I had all these problems.
Okay. I don't want to jump in. So Bourbon, how did this all start with this guy?
He already had that reputation when we started working at PRC, like I told you, and then he started talking to us in the hallways. And
so you women know which COs you can get stuff from because obviously word travels inside of your community, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, you can do that with this guy. This guy will give you this if you do this." Is that how that works?
Yeah. Just very.
So once a CO gets labeled as, I mean, what do you label these COs as? I mean,
just you can.
Okay, so the dudes that are labeled that are in, the guys that are down. Now they're just like these walking gods in there because they know that they can get whatever they want. They can bring you whatever you want. And they're going to get pleasured no matter what, whenever. That's how this is working.
Yeah, they know they're not, and they know we won't tell on them, and they cover our tracks too. Like they don't search our rooms. They did their room search. Like they don't do our pat downs. They put we were searched. They don't do any of the stuff that they're supposed to do as a CO. So like we're protected too. Like I didn't get snitched on for having the phone. He didn't tell on me that he brought me tobacco. Like he's definitely not saying he searched me. He's not gonna search me. He's gonna say he searched me. He wasn't doing his tear checks. That was one of the things he got caught for because they're required to do a tear check. He's the only officer on in that entire facility, and he's instead sitting up front with us or nowhere to be found and then logging that he did his tear checks. Because those are safety issues.
100%. There could be an incident like you where somebody tries to take their life or is taking their life and he's getting it in with an inmate and someone's bleeding to death.
Yeah, because he's not doing the checks. He's logging on that he's doing them, but he was seen that he wasn't.
And the correctional facility is just, meh.
They cared, I guess. I mean, when that stuff got caught, we got sent home. And they sent the investigator, this investigator named Dax Anderson. He was like the SIU, I don't know. He's some kind of investigator. And when they came, I absolutely was like unequivocally, he did nothing wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. Nothing happened. I'm not telling you shit. Fuck you. I'm not going to snitch because I have a cell phone. That's a class A. I'm going to get a felony for that. If I tell you that he did this, then you find out I have a phone, I'm getting in trouble and I'm not going to go home. So I'm not going to tell on him. Promise. And they sent me to the work center to separate me from the facility.
Okay.
And then he got reassigned to men only. That's how they dealt with it. They reassigned him to the men's facility only. And then he was in his uniform coming to see me at work release. He's on his messages. He changed his name on my fucking JPay to his real name. He was using a fake name, Jeremy Fisher. And then he changed it to his real name. And they sent the SIU again. Are you sure there's nothing you want to tell us? We just want to make sure nothing's happening. No, you just don't want to make sure you're not going to get sued. No, nothing happened. I'm going to go home and I'm not going to tell on him because I'm not going to not go home.
Oh, that's the game.
I'm not going. That is an escape.
So if
felony.
You did rat him out and be like, he did give me a phone. Now you're admitting to a phone. So now you're tacking a felony on. They're just going to move him to the male side. They're going to brush it all under the table. Meanwhile, tack time onto you.
Yeah, and
that's how that works.
They gave him the option to resign, so he resigned when in lieu of disciplinary. And this is how my time became so much worse. When I violated and came back, Sicky was co-ed. So now I'm at the facility as an inmate with all of his fucking coworkers that are blaming me for getting him fired. They're saying it's my fault. Me and my slut friend got their coworker fired.
So you and your slut friend got a CO fired for having sex with you guys.
Yeah.
But it's your fault.
Right.
Make that make sense.
Yeah. And my time was awful there. That's why I got beat up. The cops kept calling me all these names, putting me under investigation, telling everybody that I got a cop fired. Just like I went there with the odds stacked so against me because these were his friends. And I didn't tell on him. I actually held it down for him. and did not snitch on him. He chose to resign instead of letting himself get investigated.
Guilt.
Yeah.
Admission of guilt. If you're resigning, it's an admission of guilt.
So you can keep all of your fucking pay and all of the shit that you got. That's what happened for him. Like, if we would have told on him, he wouldn't have got to keep those. He would have, something else would have happened. He would have had a termination. Instead, his post-certification is still intact. It's just expired. He got to keep those things. His wife never got to find out about that. You know, like, we didn't snitch on him, but his coworkers didn't see it that way. Like, we were the problem. So I got
for sure, always
beat up 3 times there. And then finally, like, because I wouldn't say what was going on, a case manager who I hated pulled me into his office and he was like, what the fuck? What in the fuck is going on? Why are you like the target #1 inmate? Why do I hear your name every day? What is going on? And I told him, listen, I don't fucking know you and I don't fucking like you, but you're my case manager. So here's the deal. 10 feet away from where you're standing now, 4 years ago, I got caught in that station by myself while an officer was in the back with my friend. And I have never lived it down since. That's why your staff hates me. And so he fucking was like, no, this is not going to happen. And he went to bat for me over and over and over again. And then there was some more shit that was happening. I was like, hey, listen, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm literally watching an 18-year-old get punched every night in the shower and fucking having sex with someone who's 30 years older than her against her will. And none of us want to see it. Nobody wants to say anything. But I don't want to be on the record as the one who said it because the investigator fucking hates me and all of your staff's fucking corrupt. So what do you want to do about it? So he writes this email. Can I put something on the record? We didn't know that you literally can file something anonymously. They're not imposing this, but that is the law. Nobody knows this. They're like, so he puts the email into shift command. Hey, can I make it a report, but I don't have a name for you or specifics. They were like, you're going to give us that name or else. And he was like, well, I don't have any names to give you. I don't have any information to give you. I don't have anything. And they're like, file it by the end of the day. So this email gets printed by staff, attached to the back of a grievance and given to my side bunkie. So now it's been sent into population. So now everybody sees that this just got reported by a CI that doesn't want to give up their name that shouldn't have happened. Right. So I take it and I'm like, fuck you guys, give me that. And I text him on JPay, get your fucking ass down here right now. And I hand it to him. So then he loses his fucking mind. Well, I ended up getting out because he fought for me. He was like, dude, she's been jumped 3 times in this facility. She didn't fight back. Like, should not be happening. You need to let her out. So I made parole. When I violated my parole, I get a notice that I'm being subpoenaed. I'm like, what am I being subpoenaed for? So I called the attorney on the name of the subpoena, and I'm like, what am I being subpoenaed for? She's like, it's to defend your case manager in an IDOC hearing. And I was like, okay, for what? She was like, well, can you just tell me about this incident that happened? And I was like, yeah, I could tell you. The day comes of the subpoena, IDOC refuses to transport me to his hearing. He loses his hearing. He gets terminated. For defending me and other women too. There were other ones, not just me, and I found out later. IDOC wouldn't send me.
So Idaho Corrections, even though you've been subpoenaed to his case in this court date, they refused to transport you that day so you couldn't testify? Yeah,
and it was in their internal proceedings. I was subpoenaed to I forgot where they go. It's like an office of professional something or other. Human rights place. When you get a letter of disciplinary action, you have to go in front of a committee if you dispute what happened to keep your job. He got suspended. They took all of his files, and then he had to show up at this hearing, and I was the witness. I have the transcripts from it. They wouldn't take me, and the sergeant on record called me a rat. A known rat.
For outing the COs.
He just said, if you look at the transcripts, it wasn't for outing the COs, but that was the investigator that had to come in front of Bourbon, so he'd already had beef.
Okay.
And he was subpoenaed because he was one of the people who was in charge of investigating this other, I tried to remain anonymous, this for why he was getting fired. And he said, well, AAW is a known rat anyways.
And he's the investigator. So they terminated an investigator?
No, the investigator was the reason why my case manager was terminated.
Your case manager. Now, your case manager was innocent, right? Was he hooking up with anybody?
No, so innocent, so by the book.
But so you have COs that are literally hooking up with inmates every night. You have your case manager that's fighting for you, and they end up terminating him?
Yeah, and he's well-known on the record. He actually, when I ended up in jail on my last parole violation, I looked up tried to find out, I wanted to know what happened, why I didn't get subpoenaed, what happened to him, because I didn't know. He wasn't my friend or something, And so I added his emails every way I could think of to try to get him as a contact. And I see him show up as a contact. So I call him, and I'm like, what happened? Is this my fault? Did I do this to you? Did you lose your job for defending me? And he was like that and some other things. They said I was insubordinate and defending other women who were just like you. And And then he blasted me out over the phone, kind of. He was like, you need to come forward about what happened in IDOC. And I was like, no fucking way. No. And he was like, Andrea, I'm telling you right now, you need to do the right thing. I'm like, right for who, man? I can't do this. He's like, you're going to do this. You need to do this. You need to do it. And I sat there for like a long time, really pissed off that I called him. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I went to the sheriff and I was like, I need to report Priya. And I was like, this was the worst thing that could ever happen, because now I am fucking doing something I would not normally do. And I go in there with the sheriff and I tell on Mike and Tyson. And I told on Mike, I told Tyson, and I think I told on Jordan. I didn't tell on the other two yet because I didn't realize like that was Priya. I didn't know a lot about that stuff. And I was thinking like to myself, okay, this is going to be a big deal. And after I did that, it was so bad, dude. They came after me so hard. They said they were going to charge me with slander. State police falsified my report, misrepresented it, closed it without investigating it. The jail blocked me from calling all of the resources that I could call. The Priya coordinator deemed my Priya as false and didn't even investigate it. And it was just so awful.
So you could be a CEO, rape an inmate, it gets brought up, and they'll just bury the whole entire thing, and you can get away with murder in there if you're on the good old boy CO system.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm gathering. Like
Yeah.
the fact that they're going through all of these steps and outing you. Okay, it makes sense, but how does anybody look at this and not realize this is full corruption from the Idaho correctional facility? Like, if you're an inmate, you're the inmate at the time, you out these COs for sexual abuse, pictures, videos. You say you have all of it, and all
But
the
I
documents.
didn't in there. I was in there.
You're locked up, so you bring this up now. You're public enemy number one.
Yeah.
How is there no laws in place to protect?
I don't know.
Why would a woman ever come forward of being taken advantage of in prison if this is the procedures?
You don't. And nobody knows the procedures because most of the time we don't, or there's NDA signed, as I told you. Like if it ends up getting caught, they settled and they sign NDAs so you never hear about it. They are allowed to resign. They don't get charged. We don't have felonies on the books for that until I just fought and went in front of the legislature and testified, and Erickson and Whitney and all these people bound up with me, and we got the law changed. So July 1st, it's illegal, but it hasn't been illegal until now. We don't have a law that says that they can't touch or do anything or be in a relationship with us. We have a federal guideline that says that it's fireable offense, but we don't have a state law that says it's illegal.
It is 2026. How have we made it this long?
Nobody ever told. This is a good old boys club, like you said.
And you're the first one to out all of this in Idaho at this level.
At this level. And you know, when I did it, when I came back and all of the girls saw what was happening to me, they were like, fuck that. It happened to me too. And we listed every name we could and sent it to the feds. And they intercepted the feds' letters.
Of course.
Yeah, they took them and copied them. And I got called out on the hotline numerous times. And I'm like, you fucking sheriffs are saying how much you fucking hate IDOC. Yet you're sitting here telling me you're going to charge me with libel. That's not even a charge. It's a civil lawsuit, idiot.
So what's going through your mind at this point? Now that you out this, you think you're doing the right thing and everything turns against you. Now you have all the COs that are after you. Did this piss off female inmates? I mean, obviously there's
a lot.
Why?
Because it was turning the contraband issue upside down, bringing attention to the fact that the cops bring the contraband, and inmates felt like it was snitching. A lot of the inmates that did time with me that didn't like me because I did get special privileges said that I deserved it, that I was a slut and a whore and a prostitute, and that I got what I deserved.
Were you having sex with these COs?
I did not have actual sex with any of them. One of them, I was at the work center, and he had, as you know, terminated. So when I did have sex with him, he no longer worked there. And the other one, I gave him oral sex under the desk. So I didn't actually have sex with him. And then I have a lot of the messages from that stuff. And then when I got out,
those messages?
Yeah,
while you're talking.
Yeah, when I got out, when I was like, "Oh, you guys don't want to believe me? What's up?" So I texted one of them and I said, "Hey, is it my fault that you got fired?" And he's like, "No, it's not because of a relationship with you. It wasn't for that. It was for contraband. The feds got me for contraband." I was like, "Because I didn't tell anybody." And he's like, "I know, Andrea."
You have that all screenshotted?
Yeah, I actually have a recording.
They get in full rut, and it's just. It's pissed their whole lives away.
Yeah, I have a lot. When this was happening, let's see if I can find one of these for you. I have a VPO that I went in front of a judge So here's one. The police in my police report, like I have it. They said that they came in and said, "Did you have sexual contact with any officers?" And they said I reported no. And
is this a recording?
Yeah, if it'll play in your house.
So from 2018 through 2021, did you have any inappropriate sexual contact with any COs?
Yes, and I'm going to tell you about it.
And then they wrote in their
They
statement
wrote that
no.
I said no.
But you have an audio recording of it saying yes,
Yeah,
obviously.
public records request.
And then the correctional facility buried that.
And I had to go in with an officer or with my attorney to the lieutenants of ISP to file an official grievance against those officers. And you know what they did? They made him a sergeant. I did this
Let me
with
see
them.
some screenshots.
I have a lot of them.
I'll just scroll as you're talking, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, there's some, like, you'll have to get down and, like, look and make sure some of them aren't Brian's, but, like, this is an officer that was talking about contraband.
Are you cool with me looking?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can go in the folders. And there was a recording. I went in front of Judge Ellis, and I told him, I have the recording on there. They're trying to shut me up. They're trying to bury it. And Judge Ellis said on that recording, I will do my best and make a call to an elected official for you.
What are these screenshots of?
That's what one of the officers was sending me.
What is this from?
Jordan.
Can you see this kid?
Jordan sent it to me.
This is a woman in like a what's those old torture devices?
Yeah, like a
Where your head in hand. No.
gallop. I don't know what they are.
So these are COs. So this is a woman giving a dude oral in a cartoon picture. This is from COs sending this to you. How are they sending you these pictures?
I have a phone.
How'd you get the phone?
Okay, my mother brought it into me originally. Remember I told you? Okay, and then once I made my Facebook and my Google account, they messaged me through all the years that I was incarcerated, all I was at the work center, while I was on parole. Like the last messages, even from one of them, ended just recently when I got out. So for years.
So this is a correctional officer telling you, "Damn, playa, you look better out of green scrubs."
Yeah.
And that's what you're wearing in prison.
Yeah.
On phone.
These dudes are. This is his face.
Yep.
Dad, they made a trail. They literally have a paper trail. Digital footprint.
But ISP refused to take the evidence.
Whose dick is this?
Tyson's.
This. That's his him.
Can't say it's not his because there's his face.
We might blur that part out. I don't want to show his face, but this poor guy. This just like has a full relationship with you.
And IDOC told
And
me.
you're in prison. Well, these screenshots, you're taking these, like, screenshotted afterward. But
So sometime I was some of them I was in prison, some of them I was in the work center, and then I got out on parole and it still continues. And then I go back as a violator. And he's an officer the whole time. So that's illegal whether I'm on parole or not. That's a supervising officer.
this is a supervising officer sending you his dick pics?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of phone does he use? A Droid? Like, what?
I don't know.
Is this a Motorola? Like, how long ago was this?
I don't know.
Like,
So he started I met him so this happened in 2013, and I think he just barely blocked me in 2024. And, I thought he would have been blocked before I reported him, but they never did an investigation. So when I got out, all of my stuff was still on there because the state police never investigated. So they had no idea.
What chatting system is this? What
That was
platform?
with the case manager, my case manager, about some of the stuff that was happening. I think he kept documents of everything too for his report. I have messages from other girls in there that are telling me how they remember the cop, but rubbing up on my ass and calling me his girlfriend and stalking me. Like those messages are in there. I have the recordings from Judge Ellis. I have the recordings from the legislature. I have all of my messages intact. I have back-to-back messages with the director of the Department of Corrections who denied outright that she ever had any of the stuff prior to the article. She had it for 2 years almost prior. Their office had it from June 4th of 2024, and the articles didn't come out until October of 2025. And I have all of the logs and all of the emails going back and forth with the SIU, the state police, and the director of the Department of Corrections. Yet you have her on record saying that she never had any knowledge of it.
So they've just been getting away with this forever.
And she covered, I thought with a female director, I'm like, it's the first female director, dude, maybe she'll do something. So much worse. It's so much worse because now.
What is this? Who's this woman's name?
Bree Derrick. And I have a lot of
Give me 1
emails from with her,
I
but
want to check something real fast. You keep talking.
okay, with the reporter, after all of this came out, I talked to the reporter who handled all of this stuff, Whitney, and she was like, "Hey, through a Public Records Act, we got Bree Derrick's emails, so now they're also suing the Department of Corrections." But Bree Derrick in her emails was like sending stuff out prior to the stuff coming out to the legislatures, giving them talking points and saying the gist of it is false. Well, if it's false, then why haven't you sued any of us for it? You have an army of attorneys. They're the attorney general. Why? They're your attorneys. Why aren't you suing anybody if we're the ones lying? If this is all false and none of this evidence exists, why aren't we being sued?
That's a great question. This is fascinating. This is like, from just a retarded Marine, this seems like cut case of, I mean, you have his dick pics on your phone and his face in it.
I have a lot more than that. There's a lot more messages than that. I have them intact from 4 of the 5. One of them I don't have because he didn't retire. He had a heart attack or something, and I never actually talked to him. He was just stalking me over and over, calling me his girlfriend, driving outside of the facility I'm at. He got caught with his hands on me by the visiting officer, and I got yelled at for it. He was telling the male inmates that worked for him that we were going to be together. He put his hands on me while I was at Sicky Checkpoint while I was in another vehicle.
Why are these? Is there like a certain breed of person that's going into correction? Like, why are these guys so desperate?
I don't think they care. I don't think there's repercussions for them. I think it's
Clearly.
just like a fraternity for them.
It sounds like it.
And and everybody was yelling about me. I'm like, bitch, I don't know better. I have been a fucking junkie since I was a child. They're trained to know better. Sorry, I know better now. I know that
I mean, you got a valid point there.
That I was manipulative to have these things that I didn't have. I know that I was desperate, and I know that I put myself in positions to be victimized because I wanted these things. But they were trained to know better. They went through training.
Absolutely.
Like, I know better now.
You're an inmate. You're a product of your environment as a child, being introduced to drugs as a very young child. And that frustrates me so much, is because here you are standing, you try to have a voice as a woman inside of these facilities, and these dudes have just been getting away with this forever. It's just cover up after cover up after cover up. How are these COs getting shit in the prison? And what are they bringing
They don't
in?
get searched. They don't search them. Like, the people that work at Control are their friends. What are they getting? They don't go through their stuff. Like, they have lockers too. Like, I clean the janitor, as the janitor, I clean their locker rooms. They leave their lockers open. Like, I got stuff out of there so many times. You're going in through a metal detector, I think, but they don't search what's going in through the cops. Like, they come in through other doors also. They come in with their bags. Like, we can go in and out of the facilities. Some of them are unrestricted fences. South Boise has no fences. Like, we can go right up to their car.
None of this makes any sense of how they're able to, we're in 2026 and this is still a thing.
We have the highest incarceration rate of women per capita. You think that they would be doing something about it? Seeing as people, states with less have a lot of PREA reports, why didn't anybody notice? Like, hey, we have the most incarcerated female population. Don't you think that there's something wrong, that the reports aren't matching?
No, they just have the best male inmate or COs that are working there. They're not crossing any violations or anything.
Yeah, ever. Especially
so you're stating that Idaho has the most incarcerated females, but some of the lowest. What do you call it? The PEP
per capita?
No, the form that you guys filled, the sexual assault form.
PREA, yeah.
PREAs. Okay, so Idaho has some of the most female. Sorry,
yeah, it was in the news.
How did you say that?
We have the highest female incarceration rate per capita in the free world. Is today? It came out like 2 or 3 days ago that they just posted that. Even Channel 6 just posted about the new women's being built. We're in the free world per capita, the most women here in Idaho, but we have the lowest PREA reporting.
Yeah.
No way. It's because we don't have a system that exists. I didn't even know about that stuff till I got challenged and I reported and they were trying to shut me up. I'm like, let me tell you what you're not going to do. What you're not going to do is shut me up, and I'm going to learn everything about you, and I'm going to learn everything you're doing wrong, and I'm going to find out, and I'm not going to stop until somebody does something.
Good.
So I learned everything about the laws, and I was like, did you know that we don't follow any of these? None. None of us know that kissing a staff member or a staff member saying you look nice in your green scrubs is a zero tolerance under the federal statute. But it's not illegal in Idaho. It's just a termination from your job. But according to the federal law, that is a felony.
And these dudes are doing this all day, every day.
Because Idaho our prisons aren't doing anything about it. Because we're too many people in prison, not enough staff, and not enough pay. Amazon pays more than the prison pays. Nobody wants to work there. Like, it's not worth the
So they're
risk.
just getting, and I'm not speaking down on all the COs.
No,
I know there's
some are
some dudes,
good.
dude, but I have a buddy, he was there, solid guy.
Some are good. There are.
Did those good ones see what's going on and never say anything, or they just all turn a blind eye to it?
They get promoted. They're not in positions. They're not there.
Oh.
They are like, go up the line. They end up sergeants and lieutenants, and then they end up in the offices. Like, we don't see them for long. They end up not where we are. So, okay. I do want to play this one for you. I went into the Capitol, and then it'll be easier to hear in a minute.
What is this?
That is inside with the legislatures and other IDOC staff members that were staff that was fired.
Oh,
like
this is
Brian.
11 minutes?
But you can skip forward. It won't be that long. Like, I just want you to hear some of it.
And this is what again?
It's with the legislatures inside the Capitol building with other IDOC staff. Me and other IDOC staff.
And you're outing all of this in front of them?
Mm-hmm.
Am I still on parole? He worked for OSP. He's the guard that goes to the perimeter. He said he came and saw me. He told me that I looked better out of my green scrubs, which is my prison scrubs. He said he remembered about when we were kissing and he missed it. This was in the closet at IMSI. This phone and these dates are when I had a phone that they let me have illegally.
One of the things I told, or I'm going to be talking with Bree about, is, first of all, there should be zero contact outside of work in any way. Number two, there shouldn't be Pepsi bribes. You shouldn't be allowed. At my teen center, I run a program. I have staff, and they're trained. You are not to have any contact outside. If you run into them, feel free to say hello, but or they say hi to you, but keep going. You're not to go to attend their events. You're not to connect to them on social media. There's no reason for any of these officers to contact you outside. They're not.
That makes sense.
You. They're in a power position, and it's a predatory, and they know it. And I told the Investigate West that.
Who is this talking?
Representative Marco Erickson.
They kiss you. That's a violation. They're a predator. They
Yes.
are a disgusting predator, and they know it.
Yes.
All the cops, everybody that does that they know better.
And then some of this happened when.
I cut that. I moved that to the most perfect. I couldn't have scripted that any better. He's right. These guys are predators. You're in an authoritative position overlooking people that are locked up, and they are 100% taking advantage of you all in there because you can't say anything. And even if you do, they get to resign, they get their pension or however many years in, and they get to move on to the next thing, go be a cop.
And we get stigma. We get stigmatized for it. We're the person, the reason they did it. Like, we get moved, we lose our jobs, we lose our stuff, we get our shit searched, we get put in SPI. They take us out of the facility that we were at and take us somewhere else so that we're not there in that facility anymore. And everybody knows what happened. And the punishment's on us.
For sure. That's how you're almost like slave, like you're a sex slave in a way.
And,
Have you ever thought of it like that?
yeah, I did. I when I was looking at the laws, I'm like, this is trafficking.
100%.
You're prostituting us and getting money off of it, really.
I mean, if you look at it, these COs are running a legitimate prostitute ring with you guys, with you women in the prisons, because they're able to have sex, get oral, any pleasure that they want, the sexting, all the attention that they need, and in return, they give you phones and drugs.
There are some good cops. I know you're going to have some of the officers, COs, getting upset, but
I don't give a fuck.
In reality, there are some good ones, but I don't know many of them. I've never met too many outstanding ones. A lot of them are corrupt. They look the other way. They support themselves. Like, they're down for their coworkers. An inmate's a liar to the core. An inmate deserves what they get to the core. Like,
inmates never change.
Fuck us. But then you see in the news, 3 days ago, ex-IDOC employee gets life plus 70 for rape. Okay, outside of the prison. So the victims only matter when they're not prisoners?
Mm-hmm. Not when you're under their watch.
He wasn't just doing this outside of there. He's doing it in there. That's who you hired. Did you even vet him before you hired him?
No.
No.
They need so many bodies right now. They don't care if you're breathing and can walk from your car into the classroom, like you're getting a job right now.
They have no requirements.
Didn't they lower the age requirement?
That guy was 22, so they must have.
Are COs legitimately bringing drugs into the prison?
Yes. When I worked, I worked as a medical janitor on the last stint that I did in prison. I was a graveyard medical janitor. And the lady that worked in medical with me was so fucking high, she couldn't do her work. So I had to learn how to do Atlas, the system. So now here we are in a HIPAA violation because I'm doing her medical work for her, for the inmates.
Wait, but she's not an inmate.
She's the officer that's in charge, the staff member, the medical staff. High as fuck. So
at work?
So lit, dude.
In the prison?
Yes.
And you're working for her.
And I'm doing her paperwork, which is illegal because I'm not a medical professional, and I'm inputting inmates' private medical information into the Atlas system. She's letting me play on her phone. She's letting me have any drugs I want off the cart. My roommates are allowed to have any of the drugs they want off the cart. We're doing her fucking Adderall. She's bringing me makeup. She bought me pizza. 2 different times bought me pizza. Literally everything I had, I got from her because she's so fucking high, she couldn't do it. So I'd spend hours in there doing her work. And she got fired for giving me Febreze, which I have the messages. That's where they drew the line. I got caught with Febreze. And they knew it came from Alabama. So they fired her.
This is a circus. This is 100% a circus.
Then the medical administrator that took over after her, I have her messages too. I have a ton of them. She added me on JPay, which is you're not allowed to do it. It's a violation. Buys us stamps and then is messaging me how did I tell because 2 of the inmates got caught with stuff that she left and she wanted to know if I said anything. So I have the messages. And I turned those into the Department of Corrections and they buried them.
Hold on. We need to back up to this. This employee is that high working inside the prison. This is why I don't trust any, oh, no, they're trusted. They're vetted. You're an inmate plugging in personal information of other inmates
into their Atlas system, the Department of Corrections Atlas, which they switched over. So she was too high to figure out how to use it. So I read the manual and it did it for her.
She just come to work and get high and sit there all day?
And play on her phone and do her makeup and argue with her sheriff boyfriend.
She had a sheriff boyfriend? Mm-hmm. That goes hand in hand, 100%. This is mind-blowing.
I have the messages. Like,
what's some of the crazy shit, that medical stuff that you had to witness in there?
I mean,
because I asked because like there's talking to some COs and inmates, like dudes do some crazy shit. Like we had one guy who said he used a pair of fingernail clippers and like snipped his whole entire penis open with it.
Oh yeah.
Are women doing that kind of are they doing that kind of fucked up shit in there?
I mean, most of the stuff is like women cutting on themselves and drug overdoses. But I mean, there's weird shit. Like when I worked at the men's prison, and it's not really the women's prison, I was there when they had to take a guy out on the gurney because he got a hand paper mache dildo stuck up his ass.
A hand paper mache dildo?
It was like, yeah.
How big was it?
Yeah, I don't know. They told me not to look. But they had him coming out on the gurney, and then
was he face down or face up?
Face down, and they were holding something like this while they were walking. And I was like, "What do you call that?" And they were like, "The Punisher." It's not the first time he's done it. So yeah.
What? Okay. Huh. This is 100% wild chaos.
It is. I think there are, like some of the women, they got like mental illnesses in there. There was a lady that was swallowing everything metal. She kept swallowing batteries, screws, all of this stuff. So she had to be put in medical because she had to have an emergency surgery. There was another lady who toothpasted her eyes shut and couldn't get them open.
Toothpasted her
She had put toothpaste all over her eyes and let it dry. And then it like infected her eye and she couldn't open her eyes.
Why?
I don't know.
Are women into throwing piss and shit on people on COs? Because that's a male, you hear about it.
Some occasionally, not tremendously, a lot. There was a lady, when I was at Sicky, she called the prison rape elimination hotline and she said, "I'm filing a PREA because you guys are fucking me." Yeah. So
I get it.
And then you saw her go in the day room and she put her hat on and then she put her coat on and then she put her gloves on and she stood in front of the door because she knew they were coming. And they did. The goon squad came and he was like, come with me right now. And she was like, come get me, motherfucker. And then started running up and down the tiers, and all the cops were chasing him. And then when she got to our tier, she was in the bag. She had like the bag people held hostage. She picked up one of the metal chairs, and then you see the cops going to reach for their freaking mace. So all of us are putting towels over our faces, and they just like bombed her. She ended up getting hogtied and taken over. And then I had to go over there for OCP. You have to sit with them when they get in that kind of trouble. They have an inmate sit outside the door, and then she took all of the toilet paper in her cell and then pasted everything up over the window so you couldn't look in the cell. And she just like lost her mind.
Personal question. What's it like being on your period inside a prison?
Oh, awful. So there is one of the medical stories I could tell you as a medical janitor.
Please.
I had to go take out the medical janitor trash, and I opened the trash can and I was like, what the fuck, dude? And I ended up throwing up. Well, I was trying to take the bag out and I threw up because it smelled so bad. And then all of the stuff that was in the bag like had tore and it was all over the floor. Somebody who had come in from county had made a homemade tampon and got it stuck.
What's a homemade tampon?
They took a pad and rolled it and like made it into a tampon and then stuffed it and then forgot and it got infected and they took the medical staff. Yeah, and whatever they took out was like dead and black and in that bag, and then I had to take it out and I threw up all over the floor. So it was nasty. It's not good because the toilet.
Do they give you the right hygiene stuff to at least take care of you guys'?
They didn't used to. Now they do. They did not supply us with that stuff. You had to buy it.
You had to buy it?
You had to buy your own tampons, so that's why people would make them, because they would not give them to us. And then they limited our toilet paper supply. At one point, you could have 2 rolls a week, which was not working out for us.
Oh, bro, that's a battle in this house. I mean, between 2 daughters, they're burning a freaking roll a day, it seems like.
Yeah, and if you ran out of toilet paper, they wouldn't give you anymore.
Sorry, I'm going to put you on blast like that. But damn, I mean, during COVID, I was freaking out. I'm like, yo, you guys are slow down on this shit. I didn't realize how much we're going through. 2 a week?
2 a week. Yep, and they'd give you 20 pads, and that's all you could have. So, and if you went to the bathroom and forgot your toilet paper in there, you weren't getting any more.
They give you 20 pads a month?
Yeah.
Which you're using how many a day during your week?
Well, they're cheap-ass pads, so I use like 5. Because they're like cheap, so you have to like make a diaper with them. Otherwise, you'll bleed out.
Yeah, and if you're a heavy flow woman or not, I mean, you could burn through that in a day or 2, right?
Yeah, you'd have to buy it. You have to buy your own. So they stopped doing that. Now they provide pads and tampons.
Oh my god!
But the counties, not all the counties do. So, like some counties will only give pads, some will only give tampons.
So, I don't even know where we are at, where we're going with this. My mind is a million miles an hour. I don't even know if we're on track or not. This is wild. So once you out all of this, now you're public enemy number 1. When did the 48 that are on record come out?
So when I came forward, as you know, and then some of the other girls band with me, the jail actively stood up against us to try to stop us. They were blocking numbers, making it so I couldn't call victim supports. They blocked Brian, the case manager, so I couldn't call him anymore. He was recording us, taking other women's statements about abuse that was happening. And literally had nobody else I could talk to. They were confiscating my mail. They weren't letting my mail come in or out. It was just like...
Is all that legal or is that all protocol?
They were saying they weren't doing it. It was lost. They were legally opening things that were confidential. They were not allowing phone calls to go through because they're just not in the system as approved. So you couldn't call any of the rape crisis or sexual abuse centers or anything like that.
How would those not be approved through the system?
How would they not? You're asking a great question. Not a single one of them are. You cannot call any of them. You can't call them.
Women inmates in a prison being taken advantage of by male COs all day, every day, and you guys don't have a sexual abuse hotline to call?
You have the PREA hotline, which goes to the staff members of which are the bosses and coworkers of the people you're reporting that don't give a fuck.
Well, it's not even just that. If they keep it in-house and their own legislative or their own legal team, then things don't ever have to. That's the same way the Boise School District functions.
That's why I went off in one of their meetings too. They were like, one of the wardens is like, when a PREA gets reported, it goes to me. And I'm like, well, cool. Have you ever seen the case about who just got sued, Warden Bayard? Because one of the staff members there caught him playing the PREA recordings for all of his staff and laughing about it. So she sued them. So the fact that the PREA hotline goes to the warden is a joke.
Yeah, that's not right.
It's a joke. Then it goes to people who hate you, who don't like you, who already think you're a troublemaker, that they're not going to listen to you even if they come. They're not going to take you seriously. They're going to rule in favor of their workers because they need their workers more than they need you.
My mind just keeps going. You guys are just sex slaves in there.
We're whatever they tell us to be, you know?
Okay. Out of all the women, I know a lot of the newer women that are going to prison aren't probably really getting taken advantage of because the COs want to build a relationship and groom because they're predators. The women that are your length and on, how many are actually involved in sexual acts with COs?
All of my friends have been. My friend Cherie was pregnant from a sergeant's baby. She left the prison pregnant. My friend Jamie, we were working in the kitchen covering for them, Stetler, and when he got caught, when our room got trashed and they found his letters in our room, he hung himself. He didn't even want to face justice. He hung himself and died. Like, my other friends have NDAs, so I can't say their name. But we all knew. Everybody knows what's going on. It's just, it's so common for all of us older timers. Like, everybody watches everything. So everybody who's saying that they don't see that, they're just lying because it's the whole population.
Is that the prison life, the prison
It's the life I know.
atmosphere, or okay, is that the prison culture? I would ask is, okay, that we don't talk, even though we're getting things from COs, they're getting things. It's just this even trade. We do our business in time and then we move on with our lives. Is that the culture inside of a female prison?
A lot.
Like, why isn't this shit getting outed every day? Is it nice having attention from a male inside of there?
Yeah, it is.
Is that a lot of it to do with it? It's just loneliness, and you got it's nice at the time.
And they're giving you things, and you feel special. You know, I didn't have a lot of men figures in my life, so to have
100%.
a hot cop hitting on me is like, dude, I'm the shit. I'm so happy about it. It's not. I didn't want some of those people I considered my friends. I didn't want Mike to go kill himself or Jordan like Stetler did. Stetler was our boss. He had a kid. We don't want that.
But these dudes are predators. I mean, they're taking it. It's the most textbook. You have this whole facility of women that probably have some major daddy issues at some point, wounds, mommy wounds. And now you have these women that are just trapped in there, and they just come in there. They're 100% predators taking advantage of you guys in there.
It's like a competition too, you know, like the one sergeant
Between the women or the COs?
like the women with the COs trying which one can get it. You know, that CO's got 20 chicks hitting on him, 20 chicks in a day. Like, how do you think he feels? Like you said, a god. Like, you're king shit in here. Any chick you could never have outside of here, you can have in here.
That's just the culture.
The way it is. There are some people that disagree with it. Like, they're the old timers, the lifers that are like fucking sluts and fuck the COs.
But where were they 15 years ago?
They sometimes they'll complain, but they complain about so much that nobody cares what they complain about.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't listen to them, you know?
Yeah.
So those are the people I tried to get the reporter to talk to, but they were just a brotherhood too. Like, no, we're not taking what's outside of our house and telling a reporter we're not going to get punished. We live here for life. We're not going to go against the people who feed us.
So this guy that gets caught with letters in you and your roommate, your cellies, right?
Yeah, it was my cellies. She was keeping all their love letters.
And they found his love letters and he hung himself?
Yeah, his name was Stetler. It was in the news.
This doesn't raise a flag within the system?
That it doesn't seem like anybody cared that much. There's a lot of them you guys didn't hear about. Like when Whitney reported all of them, you know, you had asked me what had happened. I couldn't report to anybody. And so one day my sister saw the Idaho Anti-Trafficking Coalition on the news. And I was like, dude, call them. I could call my sister. I said, I want you to fucking call them and tell them that I cannot call them from this jail. Nobody can. And so the Anti-Trafficking Coalition made a Google Voice number so that it was no longer a registered number. And I called it and I started crying that day because that was the first time in over a year that I had got to talk to somebody. And she was like, let me come in and see you. She came in, I gave her all his documents, stacks and stacks of grievances, papers, paperwork, proof, evidence, other women's statements. I gave them all to my victim advocate, Monica, that I had met for the first time. And she was like, I'm going to give this to a reporter. I know the reporter, and I want you to call them. And I called Wilson at Investigate West, and he was like, this is happening? And I'm like, I promise. I gave him all the paperwork. And Jen and Monica from the Anti-Trafficking Coalition separated everything, got it all like labeled correctly, and got it where it needed to go. And then Whitney and Wilson picked it up like they were pit bulls, dude, and they uncovered all of these hidden reports, all of the stuff that they were doing and covering up, all of these things that IDOC had been doing, they got.
So that's why they've been not allowing you to make any of these calls, because the second you got out or got to them.
That's what happened. They got exposed.
And what's the name of the company?
Investigate West. Wilson, Christian, and Whitney Bryan.
Investigate West.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the pit bulls that are going after it?
Yep. And then they're suing IDOC now because after they post all of these articles, as you know, they got the public records requests of the private emails that were on the DOC server from the director and all that, saying it's false, arming them with talking points, denials, all of this stuff. And then the governor said on record, hey, we're going to, this shouldn't be happening. And then an email went between Derek and him saying, don't release any more correctional officers' records. The law is being misinterpreted, and they stopped that. So now Wilson and Whitney are suing the Department of Corrections on their public records, on the denial and the redaction and all of the stuff they're trying to hide.
They're screwed. Good for you for taking that initiative to get your sister to get a hold of them. What did that feel like, finally talking to somebody that you thought could at least help you?
I mean, after all of the no's and everything that happened, I cried, because after Monica came and then I met Wilson and Whitney, then I met Craig Durham. He's one of the attorneys here. He's one of the top attorneys that sues the Department of Corrections. He was the one that won Adri Edmo's case. One of his friends is the one who did the case against Gladiator School. And he came in and he's like, all of this stuff is happening. It's hard to wrap your mind around, And I was like, here's all my evidence. And I didn't think he would get back to me, because all of the other attorneys before were like, yeah, you're not going to keep our lights on. Go fuck yourself. Like, we're not taking this kind of shit. And Craig gave me the time and opportunity, and he was like, I'll listen, I'll hear you out. And then Monica and Jen and Brian and all them went and met Craig at his office, and now he's my best friend. He's my boss, and he's my best friend. It's been 2 years.
Damn.
He gave me a job because of how hard I fought and how much I learned the laws and my knowledge of the Department of Corrections and all of their policies and the inner workings. So he's been one of my biggest supports, and he's now my best friend.
How does that feel, having somebody just give you a chance to be able to see your work ethic, see what you're doing to be able to help protect these women, and then give you an opportunity after spending almost 20 years in prison?
I think it's, he's one of the most important people in my life. And I think that it was one of the best feelings that I ever got when he told me when I was in jail, hey, I'm going to give you a job. I never thought I would have a normal friend, let alone this many. And I never thought, the day Monica, Wilson, Whitney, and Craig all said they believed me and they did something about it, I literally laid down for the first time and slept, because it was just me. I was fighting the system with my sister by myself and the 5 girls that stood behind me from IDOC.
And because of all this, you have been able to come out on swinging with the job, setting your life on track.
Because they think I would fail, and I'm not going to let them. They would have taken everything I said and thrown it away if I would have failed. If I would have relapsed, that's exactly what they wanted.
Everything that you were fighting for would just be completely gone overnight. You would ruin all these other women that are dealing with it into the future. It would all go to... There's a lot riding on you. Good for you for being able to stand up and do this.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I don't fail. I know it's important that I don't. Yeah, I can't. It would just take away everything. It would just take everything away. That's what they were waiting for.
That's all they're banking on. That's their last ditch effort, is for you to mess up. That's what they're praying for right now. Mm-hmm. For you to relapse, for you to make a wrong decision. That's all they have, especially with the evidence. I mean, they just saw a CEO's dick pics on your phone.
That's why they wouldn't grant my commutation and fix my time, because they wanted me to stay on parole to make sure I would mess up and go back to prison, and they can reimpose my time.
Yep.
Joke's on them. I topped out on Thursday.
So now you're 100% in the clear.
Yeah, I'm on probation.
How long did that last? How long was that?
I had an extra 1.5 years added back on.
Why?
To my parole sentence, because they miscalculated my time, and the parole commission forfeited my street time, and then the DOC miscalculated it, and it would have taken longer to file a habeas to fix it than just to write it out. But I had to write it out with this laying on me. So I'm on probation, and I'm under the jurisdiction of a really nice judge, Judge O'Neill. And drug court has helped me tremendously put my life on track. I did not like it at first. I really didn't. But they have helped me fix myself. But I am no longer under the jurisdiction of the DOC, and there's nothing they can do to me.
Feels pretty good to say that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Good for you. I might have to bring you back on just to talk your whole childhood and on all. She's over there like, yeah. I wasn't sure what we were going to dive into with all of that, and I wasn't even prepared for it. Oh, good for you. I am extremely proud that you're doing this for these women.
Thank you.
I know it's probably really hard, because you might have felt that all these female inmates are going to stand up and have your back because of what's happening. And I'm sure that's not the case, because as soon as you out these COs, now a magnifying glass is put on them. Now they tighten everything up, which means less contraband, less phones, less drugs, being brought in because of the spotlight you put on this. So that turned a lot of women against you because now they're living in discomfort in prison.
Yeah. They had a lot of bad things to say about me, but it's not the first time. And at the end of the day, like I said, I did smart off. If you like prison so much and you want to defend the cops, then why did you cry the whole time to get out on parole?
Right.
Why did you fight to even get out here to come talk shit to me? One. And two, at the end of the day, like your kids won't go to prison for nonviolent crimes. You know why? Because I stood up and I caused the state to have attention on them. And now you know that we're getting incarcerated in massive amounts and that they're nonviolent offenses and it's a huge problem. And one day they're going to fix it. And you're going to thank me instead of calling me a whore and a prostitute. But I can take it.
Why not?
I've been called it my whole life. By better.
Been through worse.
Yeah.
That's
like,
nothing. What are words?
Yeah. People like in the beginning too, they're like, you're just saying this because you want attention. Oh, I'm sorry. You think I wanted to be called a slut and a prostitute and a whore and a rat? You think that's why I did this? Because I didn't sue the state when I could have. I could have taken the taxpayers' money for millions of dollars for what happened to me. I could have done that, but I didn't. Instead, I fought to get the law changed so that you guys would have a better life, so that this wouldn't be happening to our children and our taxpayers. That's what I did. I didn't do it for the attention because trust me, it was bad attention.
Yeah. Especially when you're going against the establishment.
Yeah. I didn't get praised and coddled and in victim services and money, dude. I got called all these names and I lost a lot, but I did it anyway.
What are your thoughts about Alicia, the new warden out there?
The one at Sicky or I thought it was Tyrant.
No, she does the males. She's on the male side of things. I don't know if you've ever had any run-ins with her.
No, when I went in front of the Department of Corrections board meeting, I met Jennifer Tyron, which was the one who was saying, Tylen or whatever, who was saying that the Prias go to her. And I'm like, oh, great. You're the problem. Because
that was a female that they were going to, and she's not even reporting this stuff for you guys?
My warden was Barlow, and she was the warden for 4 of the 5 that happened to me. So she got promoted. Women in the system, I don't know. I don't want to get like them griping at whatever what they can say, but they are the problem. You are a woman in the system and you're not defending us. You're letting your staff resign. You're a freaking director and you're saying the gist of this is false. Then you're not suing us for it. You're trying to cover it up. You're placating me. You're doing just enough to make me stop yelling, but you're not changing the system.
Well, that's because she didn't get to that position by being a good person.
No.
Because if she truly cared as a warden of a prison or anybody in charge, you're looking out. Number one is to look out for your COs and inmates, like the protection of every human under that roof. As a warden, I feel that's your responsibility to look out for them all. But instead, this female that you think would have your back is letting her male COs take advantage of you all, and she's burying all these sexual harassment cases.
She's part of the problem. And I think that's their motto.
Shit.
I don't know if you've seen their motto, but it says like Idaho Department of Corrections, protecting society, our staff, and then last, those in our custody. Like, well, you should just take that part out because you're not protecting us. It's like in that order too.
Oh. And because of all this, though, I mean, look where you're at.
Yeah, I'm glad that I've basically been a thorn in their side.
Good.
For more than they probably even realized, because I'm working at a law firm and I went to OPE and OPE interviewed me because they're putting the microscope on the DOC and I got to go through their sexual assault, stuff that they're trying to combat and figure out how to get to the bottom of. And so I just continue to be a thorn in their side. They just don't realize it. A lot of the cases that are being sued against the DOC, like I know those people. Those are people that I know. Yep. So, I mean, they don't see it, but they didn't get me. IDOC didn't win.
What is something that the civilian side gets completely wrong about prison?
After reading a lot of the comments, I think, I don't know, as you know, I haven't been out a lot. I haven't been on social media, but what I read, I think what they get wrong is the fact that we deserve it. They think we deserve it. They think that we deserve what the COs are doing to us. And in reality, like, you're paying for them to do that to us. Do you really
100%.
think we deserve that? You really think if your child right now got a DUI and went to prison, they should deserve to get sexually assaulted by somebody you're paying their wages? You think that? Because I'm not a violent offender. Yeah, I'm a shit stick. I've been a plague to society. I've done a lot of things that I regret, but I can tell you that I didn't deserve half the shit I got.
No, I don't care what you've been through. To be taken advantage of by anybody that's not a punishment.
By good people, allegedly. By good trained people in law enforcement. And furthermore, like with everything that happened to me, I'm sitting here wondering how our prisons are so full when our cops are that freaking lazy when it came to investigating our investigation. Like, you literally are that lazy. Why do we have any full prisons? Because that's half-assed police work.
100%. What's something that goes on inside prisons that would absolutely shock the civilian population?
I think maybe, I don't know if it would shock them, but I just think maybe probably the violence of the cops against the inmates that you don't realize happens here, you know? Like the fact that they'll mace you for no reason, the fact that they put spit bags on hog tie women, the fact that we get body cavity searches, the fact that, you know.
What is that like having to just, you mentioned you have to,
like,
you're in dry cells, so they shut off the water so you guys aren't being able to flush anything. What's that like?
I mean, it's awful. And you don't have any running water or anything.
For how long?
Until they think that you
passed.
Yeah. But sometimes for hours. And one girl, I got her statement. She came in, there was an anomaly on the scanner when she came in, and she didn't have anything shoved inside her. So they put her in a dry cell. And she had to go to the bathroom, and she was bleeding, and they were like, "You're not coming out of there until you give us what's inside you." And she's like, "There's nothing inside me." And they made her stick her fingers in front of 3 female officers inside of herself and dig around, and she was having a miscarriage. I have her statement. So 3 officers just stood there while she was bleeding all over herself, digging inside of herself a dead fetus out.
There's no way this is real life.
Yeah, I have
There's no way.
I got her statement. I turned it in. Anytime I heard any of the stuff happening, like anything that was wrong after I had read all the laws and stuff, I was like, "Can you write that for me?"
How degrading is that as a woman having to do cavity searches like that? Are they doing front and back, or is it mostly front?
It's usually the front, and they're supposed to do it in the presence of a doctor by law. But what they do is if you go through the scanner and they see an anomaly, that's what happens to you.
And a scanner just randomly shows anomalies, so it's not like this is some high-tech equipment here.
Right. It's just if they see something that they think is unusual, then that's what happens to you.
How often are women putting stuff inside of them? Is that a pretty common thing in there?
Mm-hmm. I carried a lot of my stuff, like all my tobacco and stuff I used to carry that way.
How?
Because you put it in the finger of a glove and then tie the glove up and then just shove it.
Front, is this easier in the front? I could take it?
Mm-hmm. Especially coming in and out of work crews because they pat you down. So we shove everything, vapes. One girl had a cell phone. I'm not sure how she got that in there, but she did.
What type of cell phone? That's
just a small one.
Okay. I mean, if you're putting an iPhone 15 Plus and Max Pro in
I think it's just one of the small ones because somebody made jokes about it for a long time.
I could maybe see like a Motorola, like little flip phone. Okay, I mean but if she's like FaceTiming her boyfriend at night, I mean we might have to reach out. I want to have that conversation.
All right. I think it was a smaller one, but it's common. I had a lot of tobacco burns because one time I had like a Copenhagen mint one and the glove was not strong enough. So I got a mint burn.
Oh, that's a thing?
Yeah, it was so bad.
Are you just sitting there and all of a sudden you start feeling it? You're like, oh shit, it ripped.
Fucking thought I was going to die. And then I had like a burn right here of a thumb. Because I pulled it out and then put it right there, and then the mint burned through my thigh too. It was that strong of tobacco, and like sometimes I had pain pills and they fell in the toilet, and I was like, yeah, no, dude, somebody else dug them out and kept them. And when I came back in from having my baby, my mother brought me some drugs, but she didn't put it in a bag. So I was in the visiting room. So I went to the kids section and I ripped paper out of one of the little books and I stuffed it in the paper and I rolled the paper and I shoved the paper. Well, I bled through the paper because I just had a baby. So all of the drugs were covered in blood. But I didn't want to do it, but everybody else in the prison did. So I just gave the bloody drugs away. Yeah. I didn't want to do them.
This is some third world Venezuelan prison shit. I feel like if you were like, I was locked away in Tijuana or Venezuela, like that, I would be like, yeah, okay, this is right on par. But the fact this is going on 5 miles from here,
it's common. Like everybody keeps their drugs inside them, you know.
Do girls ever overdose from putting it inside of them?
I don't know. There has been a lot of overdoses in the prisons. I was just at the prison in I was at the prison in 21, and then we got locked down. And the fire department came, like so many hot fire guys came in there.
Oh,
and
I'm sure you girls were in heaven.
Oh, yeah. And they took 6 girls out on stretchers. We didn't even know what they overdosed from. We were in lockdown for a long time.
6 girls on stretchers?
Yep.
So something got dropped.
Yeah.
There was a drop in the prison then.
Yeah. So I don't know what. They were in max. So
What year was this?
In 21. So I don't even know.
Is this beginning of fentanyl days or what for you guys?
I know it was on the news. So it was Pocatello. It said six women were evacuated from the prison, but they were in max. So where did the drugs come from? You can't go in or out. There's no visiting.
Man, I feel like being a CEO is the perfect line to be able to walk law enforcement and a criminal is being a correctional officer.
Yeah.
You get the best of both worlds. You get the authority of being a law enforcement officer, and then you get the adrenaline, money-making side of being the CEO of providing drugs, sexual favors, and acts on these female inmates. That's like the ultimate job for a piece of shit human being.
And a lot of them are family. I didn't know what the word nepotism meant, but I was looking in lawsuits when I was trying to learn all of this stuff. And I saw that a former inmate married a correctional officer. They sued the Department of Corrections, and a lot of their allegations were for nepotism because, like, okay, for instance, in the federal courts, there's Judge Nye, and then at the Attorney General's office is his son, and his name's like David Nye. Like almost all of them are in all of the departments are all related. Like Warden Barlow, the one I told you about, her husband was Captain Huss. Like they're all married and family in all of the facilities.
This is how it works every time. This is just a different version of the Boise School District, in my opinion.
They're all
after
family.
Having teachers sit here, it's like the same thing, just a different spin of it. Of how, oh, this board member's wife is the acting counselor of this school, and then this guy over here that got accused of this, his wife's actually on the freaking ivory tower of the board over the Boise school. They're all connected, or brothers and uncles, and
they are. Let me tell you some bullshit.
Please.
When I was in the Ada County Jail, the sheriff in charge, the jail that says they hate IDOC so much that's blocking me from making my calls, threatening to file charges against me. Okay, the sheriff is Matthew Clifford. After all of this time that I have filed all of these reports, I get walked down the hallway by a lieutenant, and he's like, somebody's here to see you. And I'm like, who is it? He's like, don't worry, you'll be happy. And I go in there, and this lady introduces herself to me as Karen. And she says, I'm your liaison for IDOC from now on, right? So she's going to help me get into drug court. She's going to help me find an attorney. All these things she's telling me. I hand over my evidence to her thinking that she's my victim advocate, that she's somebody that the DOC sent as a victim advocate, right? Okay. So I'm like, yes. And I go back and I tell my friends, yeah, dude, here's her card. And I hand it to them. And they're like, you handed her your evidence, your notebooks? And I said, yeah, why? And he goes, look at the fucking name, you idiot. It's Karen Clifford. Who the fuck's Karen Clifford? She's the fucking D4 manager for IDOC. She's Sheriff Clifford's wife, the sheriff of the jail.
You gave
all of it.
His wife?
All of my evidence.
Where did all that evidence go?
She allegedly turned it into the SIU, and when I actually got Craig as my attorney, he went and got my notebooks back.
Oh, okay. So so she's too stupid to destroy him. If she should have.
Yeah, she turned him into the DOC.
Which isn't going to go anywhere. And all that stays internal. Once
yeah.
That's the biggest. That is such. Since starting the podcast, people always ask, like, what's one of those things that you've learned since being on a podcast? There's so many loopholes to protect these establishments, and it's the most minute wording. I'm just going to use the Boise School District. That when a kid comes forward with something in a sexual abuse from either a teacher or another student, how the Boise School District words it. That they report, as long as it's reported to the internal investigative team or the internal legal team of the Boise School District, it technically doesn't have to be reported to actual law enforcement. Now, one of our guests, Dr. Laura Bolton, that came on, she's fighting with Congress. And now I think here this month, it's by law. Even if it's reported to the legal team, it has to, by law, now go to law enforcement, because if it stays inside these establishments, Department of Idaho Corrections, Boise School District, Nothing happens because it stays in their own legal team, and that's when they just put the little fire out.
You want to know what's really worse? And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I had to learn this the hard way. My parole officer at the time before I went back, he was at the ISP office D3. So I went to check in with my parole officer at ISP. You already know what ISP did to me, right? Mm-hmm. We established that. Now, if you go and see where post training is, do you have any idea? It's at the Idaho State Police. So all of the correctional officers that go to post go at ISP. Their training facility is ISP. So really weird that they covered up and put no in my police report, right? The person they assigned to my case, Detective Pohonka, had put no, and he was a D3 officer that worked in the office with my parole
And you
officer.
said yes twice in that statement
Yes,
that
I
we
did.
listened to. You said yes before he even finished his statement, and then he finished his statement and you said yes again.
Yep.
And that investigator said that you said no to all of the allegations.
And filed it officially, and then never questioned a single person, and didn't turn in my evidence that I had timestamped to his personal email at the Idaho State Police, which I turned into his supervising officer, the lieutenant.
And that all got brought up, obviously.
Well, yeah, because I went in there. I filed a post grievance when I got out. So what happened with that detective is I kept calling him, and I'm like, I do not feel safe. Where are you at with my investigation? Did you get all of these emails? It's on a recorded line. Yes, we got your evidence of these dick pics. We got them. I call back. I'm like, what are you doing about it? He's like, your pre is closed. It's unfounded. I go, I'm sorry. What the fuck did you just say to me? You're saying that I'm lying. You're calling me a fucking liar. You know that you told me not to release any of this stuff because it's evidence. If I'm lying, then it's not evidence, right? So I can release it, right? And he's like, I dare you to. I said, okay, I fucking got you. And that's what I did. And then when I got out, I filed a post grievance against him. And I said, yeah, I fucking told you you're going to see me again, dude. I'm coming for you. And I went there with the lieutenant and the captain of ISP with my attorney, and I handed over my phone to them. And I said, how is this unfounded? And he's like, I will see what I can do. And I
Did he change his whole demeanor and everything?
He's
then?
like, I'm going to try to get you something, right? We're going to try to get you something. What do you want out of this? I said, I want my findings changed so that I can get victim services because you have called me a liar and falsified my report. I want it changed.
Oh, is that how it works? So
Yeah.
if they bury your case, you as a victim, then you don't get
I've never gotten them to this day.
and what are they called?
I got
Victim
my
services?
Yeah, the victim service. The crime victim fund ghosted me for 7 months. They lost my application, had me go through all of these hoops. When I went to Faces Justice Center, they're like, we don't know how to help you. This is against officers. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to help you. And then every resource I should have had as a victim, I got denied because the state police said I am unfounded. Then when the DOC took all of that evidence that I showed you in that thing, they changed it from unfounded, which is me as a liar, to too old to make a determination because they took it out so long it went after the statute of limitations. So I've never received a single thing from anyone except for Jen and Monica, which my sister contacted, and they are exceptional women. Their facility or their organization was disbanded because Trump took away the federal funding, so they are no longer an anti-trafficking coalition. That was the only people that was in the victim services that did anything for me.
Do victim services pay out if you've got taken advantage of or anything? Does that fall in negligence of the correctional facilities?
They offer economic hardship. I didn't. They ghosted me. I have all the applications.
Still go through it?
They ghosted me. They didn't do anything. Even after all of this time, they ghosted me and they would not put me through because there was no charges filed. And because the state police's original report said I said no.
And you can't go back through and fight that?
I tried. I'm past the statute of limitations to do anything. They pushed me out for so long. The statute of limitations for civil matters are 2 years.
God.
So when I fought with Representative Erickson, I said next year, and he said he would look into this. I want it so that when a correctional officer is charged for touching an inmate, that the correctional officer, instead of the taxpayers, have to pay a fine to the victim. And I want it retroactive for 10 years.
Good for you.
Because the state's not helping me in any way, shape, or form. I am not a victim. I have one founded pre and the rest are too old to make a determination, and that was their final decision, even with all of that evidence and an attorney sitting there.
This has got to be really frustrating. You're very educated on this. You have done nothing but just buried yourself in this. Good for you, because it's not, I mean, I know you're doing this for you, but how many women is this going to be able to help?
I hope a lot. But, like I said, my friend Cherie, she got pregnant from a sergeant. She got pregnant, got out, 8 weeks pregnant, and had a miscarriage on record, and he released her medical files. And I have this recording on my phone. The state police with her case, those same two detectives went and they sat across from the sergeant and they were like, how's it going, buddy? We're so sorry. We just have to ask you a question. Did you ever have sex with her? And then he says no. And then they never touched on it again, pretending like they were good old boys. And they said, you know what we as the state police are doing? We're trying to get the law changed so that people who make these reports get charges filed against them. That's how the interview ends. And I have it. And on the record, the state police public relations person said, well, sometimes detectives have to pretend like they're friends with the person they're questioning so that they can build rapport with them.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
motherfucker.
That's their tactic.
You did not do any of that. You went in there and was like, sorry, bro. Hey, we're homies. Like, we just got to do this.
Were you in there for this?
No, I got the public records request. Listen, I got to hear it. And then I freaking played it for everybody. Like, how fucking dare you? That's not how
you have the recording of this?
Yeah, I do.
Pull that up, please.
Like for my interview, they're sitting there grilling me like I'm a freaking suspect. And then for his interview, they're like, sorry, bro.
This does not show. Maybe like last year, 2 years prior, everything we know now and how corrupt everything is. And obviously having being on a podcast and hearing people's crazy stories. This is textbook shit.
Detective Chris Pohanka, detective.
So this is an Idaho police officer interviewing an Idaho correctional officer that you have accused.
My friend.
Your friend got pregnant by. So this cop is interviewing a CO that got an inmate pregnant.
Yeah. And had other complaints before her.
I'm just going to play a minute.
Brian Naylor, date is October 29th, 2024. Time is 2:01. We're at the yard with Sergeant Cleaning Smith. Okay, so like we said, so the person making the claim against you is a Cherie Nelson. Okay, so she basically.
Should we blur that out?
She doesn't care.
Okay.
She's out too.
Okay.
She's one of my friends.
Would she come talk on the show?
Not to me.
You would?
Because I was 9 times out of 10 in the control.
Hold on. I want to run that one.
If you play it to the end, you'll hear that they're going to charge us with charges next time we start filing. That's what he says at the end of that.
Do you know the minute marks?
I don't. I can find it for you if you want.
Yeah, I want to hear where they're going to threaten you guys real quick. Holy shit. This is...
South Boise Women's, ISCC, and ISCI. It falls right in line with the amount of time you've had here. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I haven't worked at the farm because...
Oh, the farm? Which one's the farm considered again? Oh, okay. I know it as the farm. Okay.
Papers and everything, and then this comes out of nowhere, and I feel like it's a personal attack.
Hold on, let's start it right there.
And what Mercy paper? It's a personal attack.
So this dude's saying it's a personal attack but he's the one that got a female inmate pregnant, and he has a family?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear this part.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I haven't worked at the farm because it's like courtesy rules. I'm good. I'm just stay here.
When are you going out?
What's that?
When are you going out? When you retire?
At 12:31. Sign my Percy papers and everything, and then this comes out of nowhere, and I feel like it's a personal attack on me and my family. And what happens to somebody who just makes shit up? Nothing.
Well, since we took over doing the investigations and stuff out here, your situation is not unique.
No.
Truly. You're dealing with that shit over at Max like nobody's business. I mean, it's the culture that you work in. We're trying to get some things changed because we on false allegations.
It's the culture that they've created. Okay, hold on.
So I think we've had a couple prosecuted for that, or we have a couple maybe coming up for prosecution on those. The problem is it's a misdemeanor. That's the problem. So, but I don't have anything else.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
Go ahead and stop her.
It was a joke interview. You're going to charge us because you didn't do your job and then say it's a false allegation? They have lots of them, as you hear.
Yeah, he said this is a common thing over there?
Yeah.
Besides your corruption, what other corruption did you witness inside the Idaho system?
I mean, like sexual related or...
I
can tell you
have
that.
at it.
I worked in administration, and I worked for several of the wardens, and one of the officers was stealing donations and stealing stuff that was being donated. When I was working in administration, there was an officer that was dying, and so the warden had me and other women making quilts and then raffling it off so they could raise money for for the officer. Yeah. So they would have us making a bunch of stuff, and then they're selling it and keeping the money. Here's one thing. One thing that really pissed me off is, in order for us to have we can order out. They'll do a special thing where every inmate can fill out a withdrawal slip for one time, and they'll order, let's say, Domino's. But in order to do it, whatever you spend on your withdrawal slip, you have to match in donations. Okay, so if I spend $40 on pizza, I have to put $40 as a donation on top of that.
What?
This is worse. And the warden at that time, Barlow, would put a list of charities that our donation's going to go to, and they're charities that their names are on. So we're donating to their charities in order to have pizza. $40 at Domino's, $40 to the donation, and it gets donated to one of the charities that was listed, the warden picked. And they're on the names. Their names are on the board.
Oh, this is so blatant. They're not even trying to hide this shit.
No, and when I looked up, I can't remember, I think it's the Faces. Maybe it's not Faces, but it's one of the justice centers. And I was looking up, and it shows their list of board members at that time. The sheriff was on the list of one of the board members for the victim services. So you're like, okay, so they get to keep 30% or some shit of a 501c3 as their own income. So they're getting all of this money from the Crime Victim Compensation Fund, and people that go to prison have to pay.
It's actually much larger than that. I've had a charity for over 12 years, and by law, I haven't looked at this in a long time, and I'm sure I'll get fact checked, but I think by law you only have to, it's something like 8 to 12% of your funds that you bring in legally have to go to what the program is. I mean, there was a Vietnam charity a few years back that just got outed. They're doing like $25 million a year, and they were putting the absolute bare minimum into what had to legally go into the charity. And these 4 Vietnam vets were just banking it.
Yeah, that's what it's like here. So the sheriff's on the crime victim. We are all paying into the crime victim fund, and then that's going to this nonprofit victim services, and all of these motherfuckers are on the board.
And now you're funding their vacations with your prison money.
And I wouldn't go to that place if you paid me. I would never go to a victim services place that had law enforcement as their board members. There was another thing too, while I was in there, one of the victim services, I was like, I want to see mental health. I'm struggling with what I did. I want to see somebody, and they were like, they called this lady, and I had to go see her. She's a mental health professional. Come to find out, she is the daughter of this lady who runs Cobb's. Cobb's is the place where they put you. She's part of the sex trafficking commission. And she's under all of these investigations because they're defrauding Medicaid. Her son's sleeping with women that are in the trafficking houses, and her daughter works in the jail and refers us to Cobb's. So they're getting all of us put in their program because her daughter is the mental health professional in the jail taking our intake and then sending us to her mom's program.
Oh my, this is just a racket.
Yeah, and she was exposed for all of it. Cobbs was exposed front and back by Investigate West, but I was in there with girls who were sleeping with the lady's son. And then she got banned because of her Medicaid fraud or something in the articles. It said, so she put it under her son's name. So all of the companies went under her son's name, who had no experience in mental health or in any of that stuff. He was like a trucker. So now all of the shit's in his name, and he's sleeping with people that are sex trafficking victims. And the jail is supporting it because they're on the task force.
God. And the saddest part, this is not the first time I've heard any of this. It's different versions, but is there anything good that goes on inside the prison?
I mean, I got to go to the work center. So that was a better part of my life because I got to have a job for the first time. I got a job at Chili's, and I really liked being at the work center, but it's corrupt too, just the same. I got banned from the work center because of my stuff with Bourbon. They banned me, and then my case manager tried to get me somewhere else, and I ended up at South Boise, banned from the Sickey property.
Why would they ban you from that for outing sexual
Because I got Bourbon fired, then I got McClure fired. Remember, he had to go in front of a LOTA for defending me. 2 staff members fired. I'm a troublemaker. And then there was another officer, Hamlin, which was one of my 5th Prias, who had numerous complaints against him for being, biased towards women. And he was calling me his girlfriend. He ended up stalking me actually at the South Boise complex too, but because of my issues with him. So I got banned from Sickey's property. Could not go back to a timer facility. And then because the staff members who worked at Sickey were now at East Boise, the sergeant there, who knew about Bourbon and this other stuff, they refused to accept me at the work center, even though I qualified. I wasn't a minimum. I had no disciplinary. I literally met the criteria. I was within the time frame. They would not take me. Other people who were at the work center that got rolled for drugs, got Class B DORs, became ineligible, got 6-month overrides, and got to go right back. But I was I was a true work center candidate, and they wouldn't take me.
Because you outed sexual misconduct from COs on you.
And then all of the cops labeled me troublemaker.
Because were you labeled a troublemaker prior to any of this? Okay,
No.
so let me ask you this. Prior to all you outing all of these COs, what was your status within the prison?
So when I topped out in 2009, I was an ADSEG inmate. Okay, when I went back, I went back as a minimum custody inmate, and I never had any type of DORs. I got assaulted 3 times, as you know, but this was after Bourbon. I had a tobacco DOR. I had writing another inmate and like possession of contraband. Like I had like a tattoo needle or something. Those are my only disciplinaries. Yeah. And so I met the criteria. I was a minimum custody inmate, nonviolent offender within my timeline. I should have been a prime person to go, but because this had happened with the staff, they refused to take me. Like every staff member fought. I have grievances. One of my grievances is like, are you literally telling me that I can't go back to a minimum custody facility because I got my case manager fired? And he was like, at this time, you're not welcome on their property. I'm like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? I'm a minimum custody inmate, and this is maximum security. Where the fuck am I supposed to go? That's illegal by your own policy. That's 2 custody levels higher than me. You cannot house me as a minimum custody inmate with close custody overrides. I got sent to South Boise, the Rider unit, where timers aren't at, with people that are not in prison.
Dude, this is insane.
And I still got stalked there by Hamlin because he was the 51 rover who did trash. So he would be driving around my facility. And I was a driver that would take people to work at Keefe. He pulled me over at checkpoint. Like he had an entire van full of males. I have text messages from other people that witnessed him, what he was doing to me. He got caught touching me by a visiting officer at my facility. And she sent me down to the sergeant's office telling him I'm not allowed to talk to staff from other facilities. If a staff member tells you to stop, you better fucking stop.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do?
I can't say no. I have to turn around and see what the officer wants. It doesn't matter what facility they're from. They're wearing a fucking IDOC badge.
I feel like to some of these COs, you guys are just sex slaves in there.
We're fucking like fish in a barrel for them. And like this guy was old.
Own you. They have like if they tell you to stop, you have to stop.
You're stopping. Period. Otherwise, it's you disobeyed a direct order.
So and then they write you up for that.
I have to. If that officer says stop where you're doing, and the other officer says go, like what do you want me to do? You're both officers of the same rank.
But one of them's
from a different facility, but they're still employed on the compound.
Holy shit!
You have
this
to
is
stop.
A living nightmare in there for you, all the women in there.
Fucking, and that guy's old, dude. Like he's such a pervert. And the problem with him is like, for me, I liked all this stuff. He almost got me caught bringing in a bunch of contraband. He brought in all this shit and put it in the janitor's closet.
What did he bring in?
He brought in like a bunch of food. He made me a bunch of food. He brought me in lotion. He brought me in tobacco. He brought me in perfume. He put it in the closet. He walks down my tier and he tells me, hey, you need to go to the janitor's closet. So I'm like, Kays, I'll take somebody with you. It's like, fuck, okay, I'm going to add somebody else to my bullshit. So I asked my friend Amber, hey, can you come with me to the janitor's closet? I'm a janitor. She's not. So now she's in an unauthorized area. But he told us to. We go in there. It's so much crap. She's having to stuff it in her sweatshirt. Another officer comes out and he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing in that janitor's closet? And then the other officer's nowhere to be found. And I'm like, dude, go. He's like, hey, you stop. And I was like, dude, go. Just go. And he was like, what are you guys doing in there? And I said, I needed to get something for the showers. And he was like, she's not a janitor. Why she's in the closet? I want to know why she's in the closet. You stop. She's halfway down the tier. Then the other officer comes. He's like, I told him to go in there. Bitch, you almost got me in trouble. Like I would have got a Class A DOR for getting caught with contraband. He would have thought we stole it. But that officer sent us in there. He was like, and I didn't ask him for that stuff. Like when I got questioned by the DOC.
They're bringing you that much stuff?
Yeah. And when I had to go in front of the DOC, their attorney, my attorney, and the investigator, he was like, well, yeah, that's why, we tell them don't even give you a stick of gum because once they give you a stick of gum, you'll take advantage of them. And I was like, I did not solicitate that from him. And damn right, once he gave that to me, I sure the fuck did. I said, next time you're bringing me what I want because if you don't, I'll tell on you.
That's the oldest thing in the book. Once a CO crosses a line with an inmate in any personal way, they own you.
Yeah.
That takes me. I'm not even a CO, and that's the oldest trick. As soon as they can turn you in anything, they own you because you could rat them out for it.
Yeah, and then other girls had it. Well, he gave another girl a DOR because she knew that I had that with him. So she asked him to bring her tobacco, and he wrote her a DOR for solicitation.
But he's bringing you.
But he's
tobacco.
bringing it to me, but because I showed him my boobs, you know what I mean? Like he's calling me his girlfriend.
That's
like
it. You just showed him your boobs,
Yeah.
and he's risking his whole job for your. I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not,
I
don't know what they look like.
He would have done it for any girl that showed their boobs, I'm sure. But for me, like there's even
He's
pictures.
risking it for just boobs.
Yeah, and he's old, like 70, and he told me
Pervert.
he used to work on not Jerry Springer, but the other one, Maury, I think, or one of the two. He was one of the bodyguards for them. He has one wife and they have one son, and I know everything about his family, like because they're on a personal level with him like that. And he's old, like super old. He had a heart attack, like in the last 6 months of my time there, and then they had to put someone else on his job, and they delivered a note to me that was from him that was like, "Sorry, I'm not going to be here anymore."
After leaving, he still wrote you a note?
Yeah, and he had one of the inmates on the crew bring it to me with a new officer driving. One of the guy inmates.
Holy crap. And that's happening every day with other COs to other inmates and everything?
Constantly. There's so many women it happens to. So many.
What is the worst? I don't know why my mind... Are these dudes getting violent with you guys if you're saying no? Are they forceful on any of these women?
There's some of them. So there's a sergeant that was at South Boise. I walked in on them because I was an admin janitor, and there was this girl up on the counter, and he was between her legs, and he was notorious. Like if you were doing a DOR hearing, like it was well known that, you know, you're in there alone with him and nobody can walk into a DOR hearing. They're sucking his dick to get his DOR dropped. And one of these other girls came out of a closet covered in bruises crying because he had manhandled her so bad when he was fucking her in the closet that she was covered in bruises and she was scared of him. And he had done this to numerous girls, and then he quit his job. Nothing else happened to him. And this inmate girl that I told you I walked in the counter, she was on the counter with, she has a baby with him. After she got out of prison, she hooked up with him, and he has a wife and a family, and now she has a baby with him.
There's a lot of female inmates that are having babies with COs.
There are quite a few.
Common is this?
I mean, I know probably 4.
I was going to say, you've listed probably 3 or 4 in this conversation.
And there's they didn't even look at how bad it goes on in the men's prisons, but there's like,
what do you mean?
Like there's another cop that I was in Ada County with. He worked for IDOC, and he fucking quit and went to the sheriff's office. And he told me, like, in the same year that Stetler had happened, that 3 of their staff members were walked off for having sexual relations with the inmates. They were not charged, and it really irritated him. It was one of the reasons why he quit IDOC. And one of the cops, she did get put under investigation, and she was maintaining she wasn't in a relationship with this inmate. It's all false. She quit. And he said they went to Wendy's, and there she is with tattooed featherwood across her face and Aryans, and is like 8 months pregnant with the dude's baby who's still in prison.
This is a female correctional officer?
Yeah.
Got her
Yep.
face tattooed?
Yep.
Of her inmate husband?
Yep.
Baby daddy?
Yep.
That's what the Aryans?
Yep. And now working at Burger King.
Let me unpack your whole last story. Let me see if I'm tracking this. Female correctional officer hooks up with a Aryan Knight, whatever they call themselves here, inmate.
Mm-hmm.
Gets caught, denies it.
Mm-hmm.
Then she's found out in town working at Burger King with his name tattooed on her face, pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most Idaho shit. that is the most Idaho shit. What would that just...
There's a lot of them. Like my friend,
we need to start doing some deeper mental dives into the surveys on these people. I mean, why would?
And my friend, she had her son was in prison, and when he got out, his girlfriend was the medical nurse, and she came and lived with them and was going to work at IDOC. Well, both of them are on parole because she was in a relationship with him while they were in prison.
So this whole entire conversation, I've really gathered that the female prison is just a giant orgy dating site.
That's the way I would put it. Maybe it's not everyone's experience, but it's the majority of them. And
anybody's been in there for a decent amount of time
is going to have the same thing to tell you.
I'm so glad I'm giving you this time. I want more of your friends. I'll give them the platform. You hear about this stuff, but I've never had anybody that I've come across that was I've met other females that have gotten out of the system. They're like, well, yeah, it happens, but they never really dive into it. It's almost one of those things, and this is how I've looked at it until obviously you reached out, that it's the same as what goes on in male prisons with the dark, perverted shit, sexual misconduct. And they just bury it as they walk. It's just part of that culture. So these women are just getting taken advantage of by these male CEOs that are literally predators, hunting these women, taking advantage of you in your lowest point. That's just a part of your life, chapter of your life. So when you walk out of those gates, they're leaving all that behind and they never say anything again. So this just,
and we end up going back. We're not out for that long. Like for me, like I get out and then I just go get high. Like I have no life skills. I didn't learn anything. I topped out and had no fucking skills. So I just went back to the needle. And then I have the same perverted thing in my mind about how prison is. And that's how I am in my sexual life. And I sleep with numerous men. And it's just because it's a little learned behavior. And then I end up back in prison where I never had a chance to stay anything. And I wouldn't have anyways because I want those privileges because I know I'm going back every time. Like I'm not.
So why would you be on the outside? Almost prison's a better option for a lot of people living that lifestyle.
Yeah, it's like you think about getting out. I became institutionalized, and I'm like, I want to get out so bad, but then I get out, and I'm like, all my kids are old, my family's gone, my fucking life has nothing. I don't have a job, I don't have a place to live. I'm sleeping with my drug dealer so I can get high for free. Like, why did I get out? Who cares if I go back?
Because all that time while you're in, nobody's done anything to help you get your life on track.
Yeah, the prison
Are there
doesn't.
programs for you? I don't want to say that I don't want to eliminate if there's options or opportunities, but
There's programs, but we all take them. They're blanket programs, and they're a fucking joke. That's what the federal government gives to our prison to pay our bed space.
100%.
And I have taken those programs 16 or 17 times. The same fucking things. They don't do shit. They're not teaching you how to balance a checkbook, how to take care of a child. They're not teaching you how to hold a fucking job, how to pay your bills, how you pay taxes.
How to function in society without going back to where you were.
Nothing. They just like...
Because they want you back.
Their main tool is like this. Hold on, don't hit me. Stop. I have to think about what I'm doing first. And then think, if I hit this person back, what will happen to me? Oh, I will get in trouble and get a parole violation. I'm sorry, I know you want to hit me right now, but I can't let you.
I'm on parole.
That's the fucking shit they're teaching you. Like, it's so stupid. Their classes are a joke.
This is sad. This is sad. It's another money grab that's been built by the elites of this country, and they've found a way to be able to milk the system through prisons. That's why I look at public schools and I look at prisons are on the same level for me, is that we've advanced in everything in this world with AI and technology, modern science. Everything has evolved except for our prisons and school systems. Make sense that we're still putting kids in rows, raise your hands to go to the bathroom, do not speak out of turn, no critical thinking on their own. I can go on. And then the prisons, it's like, okay, cool, you're a non-violent offender. Come in here. Hey, cool. We have your story. This girl's grown up in a life of drugs and violence and just being abandoned and having to raise her kids. How do we teach her the skills that she needs to have? Like, why aren't they sitting down and being like, okay, hey, this is your previous story. We know what's happened in your life. These are the things that are going to get you back on track. We do not want to see you back here again. But instead they're like, take this course, because if you take this course, we get a check in the box and we keep getting our federal funding for it. Yeah. And it's the most generic boomer bullshit that was probably created back in the 70s. And I would love to know when the last time they revamped any of this stuff.
Do you know how much money as a taxpayer you've paid for me to be in prison? $750,000. 19 years at $75,000 a year.
For a non-violent crime.
I've never had a violent crime in my life. Not one. And that's how much you in Idaho as a taxpayer have paid to put me in prison. You know what $750,000 would have done in my hand to my life? You know what $50,000 in my hand would have done to my life? On any of my parole violations at any time, if they would have said, okay, instead of sending you back to prison, shuffling you through, filling the beds, and just making you go back for a stupid parole violation, we're going to put you in a work center. We're going to make you go to work. We're going to make you pay your fucking bills. We're going to make you pay off your COS. And then we're going to make you responsible again. That's what they should have done. No, go back to prison.
Yeah.
Sorry, you got high. You have to go back for 3 years. This is a miscellaneous parole violation. It's a stupid ass system.
It's so broken. Dudes on parole get rolled for rolling a stop sign, and then parole violation, 2 years now for rolling a stop sign or something ridiculous.
Stupid shit.
You hear stuff like that all the time.
I know. I had knives in my room because I had to break the molding off because I had locked the door from the inside and I couldn't get in. So I had popped it off and I set the knife down. My parole officer gave me a violation for a weapon, having a knife outside of the kitchen.
So you could have a knife in the kitchen, but the second you stepped out of the kitchen, it's now a weapon?
Correct.
Huh.
Yeah.
I told him it was a utility knife.
I did everything I could. I had no new charges, nothing. I was literally out for 8 weeks before they violated me. And that was one of the violations. Another one was having an unapproved relationship. Even though I wasn't in a relationship with him, I had just slept with him. We weren't in a relationship. We were just fighting, and he threatened to shoot me in the face with a gun. And then not being safe to myself because the guy I was sleeping with threatened to shoot me in the face with a gun. That's my parole violation. And I got passed for 3 years.
It's part of it. This is it.
If you try to kill yourself on parole too, they'll give you a violation for not being safe to yourself.
And put you back in?
Yeah. It's a common one for women.
That's so sad. And then here we are, just copy, paste, repeat.
They don't change anything.
And then we always, our prisons are at max. They're max. We've got people sleeping on floors.
Because 65% of them are parole violators that were eligible to stay out on parole and got violated. And they're nonviolent.
Wouldn't it just be a lot cheaper to put ankle bracelets on all the nonviolent criminals? What do they classify them? Offenders or whatever.
Nonviolent offenders.
And I know an ankle bracelet's not going to do much, but it's better than going back in and spending the money on the people.
A work center. Okay, we have work centers. When an inmate goes to a work center, 65% of our paycheck before taxes gets confiscated by the work center to run the work center. So why the fuck are you not having parole violators put in work centers that you've opened, that we're paying rent to be in, that the taxpayers don't have to pay for, so that we can get our shit back on track, get back into a job, have clean UAs, pay our fucking bills, and pay for the work center?
Because that would make sense.
Way too much sense. Most of the people are nonviolent. We have minimum custody ratings. We should not be behind two fences. You shouldn't be sitting in there as a parole violator.
And then on the male side of things, you're in there dealing with the male COs, but on the male prisons, take somebody of your same situation, but make him a male. Now he gets pulled into the gangs. Now he gets pulled into these crews and groups because they have to survive. So now you have a nonviolent offender. This is one of my biggest problems with these nonviolent offenders. You get these young kids that get a coke charge or something, and some boomer cop arrests them for some weed or whatever. Then he gets put in prison. Now he's rolling with the area knights, and now he's carrying out shit for them just so he's not getting raped and beat up. And now he's getting violent crimes, and then he's stacking time on in there for a coke violation or a simple parole violation. Now he's back in there having to survive, and he's gone. There's no getting out of that. Once you're pulled in, you're in the system. There's no, hey guys, I'm out now. Now even when you get out, they're going to use you, and then you fall right back into the shit.
The case with Milo, he was a DUI. He was just a DUI, and he's dead. And the person who killed him was a nonviolent offender in there for drugs who's now serving life. It's the same thing that you're saying. And Milo's dead.
Did we talk about Milo?
I haven't. I know that we have ongoing litigation, and
I don't
there
wanna touch
is
on it.
but there is public record because it's all over in the news about what happened to Milo, and he was a nonviolent offender that got put in ISCC Gladiator School into G Block because he was cheeking his meds, and they gave him a substance abuse DR, and he died in a cell from a cellmate. He beat him to death. And that's public. That's not, privileged. That's stuff that's in the news.
If that's in the news, what's not in the news?
A lot. There's a lot. A lot of the men in Saguaro, I hear right now, are having a lot of problems. So Saguaro, the holding facility where Idaho men are being sent, Hawaii, the Hawaiian ACLU, and another one are trying to bring up lawsuits against all of the civil rights violations occurring in Saguaro because they have more than Idaho inmates being held there. And there's been a lot of deaths at Saguaro. It's not like a safe place to be sending our inmates. There's been like 3 now, I think, since the last year.
What's life like now for you?
I mean, I work. I don't have any friends that are, felons. I do still have some of the girls that I talked to that were victims with me. I am a mentor in drug court. I'm almost to step 8 in my 12 steps. I have my 2-year chip. I am about to graduate drug court. I will no longer be on any type of supervision here shortly, September. I work at a law firm. I work at Domino's. I am going to school at CWI.
Good for you. You're very, very smart. How you
trying to just keep track of your story. You have so much information and have gone through all these laws and case studies and everything. It's very impressive. You have a future ahead of you, especially with this law firm and being able to fight for these women's rights. I think you're going to be an incredible. This happened your whole entire life. You might not see it now. I think has led you to this point to be able to help these women and get their rights reinstated back into these prisons.
I hope.
There's no hope. It's happening. You're in the middle of this right now. Like it is happening. You are making a difference. Just you coming on and sharing this. This is going to be some people that are going to hear this. That's for sure. I know the warden over at the men's prison. I was just over there not too long ago for one of the Rise events, and she watches all the episodes because she's had a couple of her inmates come on and talk about it. And it's disgusting to me of what's happening over there. It's so sad how these women are just preyed on by these male COs. We hear the stories, but to hear directly in detail from what you're saying, it's a whole other level of what's going on in there. I think a lot of it's played off too on the civilian side. Oh, these women are just taking advantage of you. These women will do anything for you hear how it's twisted and spun, but I've always if you never hear about them getting in, the COs getting in trouble.
They don't. And I'm not one of the people that sued. I didn't sue. I wasn't out there for money. I didn't want to do this. It wasn't like, I'm going to wake up today and expose my whole life, everything about me, and it's going to be great, and I'm going to get money. No, that's not what the fuck happened. I had no choice. I was blasted on a phone that is recorded, and I had to make the right choice. He made the right choice for me, and I made the right choice for everybody else.
Good for you.
And I don't get money out of this. This isn't like, oh my God, I'm going to trick a CO into sleeping with me so I can sue the state. Never crossed my mind.
I mean, even if it was, I feel like they deserve it because it's still that CO's responsibility to not cross that line. He's the trained professional. Even if that should be part of the training. These women are in here to get you to fold, to get you into a lawsuit. You're going to lose your job. Your whole life's going to be destroyed. These women are not your friend. I'm sure that goes on in the training. So even if walking into that facility and there's 400 women in there, every one of them you should look at them that they are there to ruin your life. Even if they're the nicest, kindest woman, she got arrested for jaywalking, whatever the hell reason they're in there. There should never be a reason to ever cross a line with an inmate.
Think of them as your fucking sister or your cousin. Don't look at us like we're some kind of fucking thing for you to put in your belt that we're not going to tell on. Because at the end of the day, hi, here I am. You never thought I would. I'm one of the people that was hardcore. No, don't ever. But here we are, they need to establish there's a humane way to treat people and not cross that line. And if you see me as an inmate coming and you think I'm manipulative, set a fucking boundary.
Yep.
And keep it for everybody.
And it should go in the notes. It should go in a note system. Hey, this inmate came at me with these acts. Blah, blah. Everything should be documented. If these dudes aren't documenting it and they get called out on it, where's the paper trail?
And there's no charges for them until July 1st. There was no law that was stopping them from doing what they were doing. It was not illegal for a correctional officer to do anything to me except for touch my vagina. That was our law.
So what happens July 1st when all these women have been banging all these COs and they start outing them? Do you think they're going to?
I mean, I hope they do.
I bet these COs are shitting themselves.
Yeah, they were. I heard some of that. I had from the legislature, one of the people when we were there, because I testified to get the bill passed. They asked, so if I hug an inmate, I'll be a felon?
Why are you hugging an inmate?
Right. One, why are you? But two, no, because a hug isn't for sexual gratification. If you kiss, touch, caress, hit on me, proposition me, bribe me, touch any part of my body.
Send dick pics.
It's now, it will be a felony on July 1st.
Good.
But it wasn't before. So those cops that were like, oh, they're going to ruin my life, they're going to sue, I could get sued. No, you can't. IDOC will sign an NDA with you and give you money to shut up. And trust me, it's not that big of an amount. Not enough.
What do you think these guys are getting paid out? Have you heard any numbers?
Yeah, I know that one of the NDAs was like $15,000 and the attorney took 1/3.
That's it?
Yeah. So, I mean, it wasn't illegal for them to do it. It was just a policy violation.
And because of you.
Now it's illegal.
Good for you. That's got to feel really good.
It was. When I went in there, I thought I would have the legislatures opposing me or the bill when they read it that it would not be passed. And I got to sit and talk in front of the legislatures. It passed with full support of all of the House, all of the Judiciary Committee. Not a single nay went in there. And I did not expect that. I thought I'd get some kickback, but I didn't.
I mean, I could ask the question who would kick back on that, but I mean, you see the votes to like end fighting in Iran right now, and it's how many vote for yes, and it's all corruption. So it's whatever benefits them at the end of the day.
And I thought it was a really funny smack in the face to IDOC when I got the letter from OPE stating that the legislator have ordered that they be turned upside down and figure out what the fuck's going on in the prisons. And then I got to go in there and meet OPE.
How did that go?
It was hard because everybody says they're really good at their job and that they're going to fix stuff. But at the same time, like, they're people that have been schooled, they investigated schools, and they're like these Joe people that I don't think have an idea on what is really happening in the prisons. And I got that when they sent me their survey, and they're like, what would you change on it? And I told her, like, for one, I would ask if they've noticed any of this stuff happening. If you see special favors, if you see inmates getting special project, if you see things that are awkward, like, ask them that, because you're asking these questions that nobody's going to answer. The survey is not, like, if I was in there fucking a cop, I'm not going to answer your fucking survey and say, yes, I'm getting all these privileges. Your survey, fucking wipe my ass with it. Why would I even answer that? Nobody's going to want to answer that.
Yeah, I know.
I think this is not the right move, but I mean, I get that they're trying, and so I at least think it's a good smack in the face on IDOC. Like, haha, you're getting investigated.
Oh, I'm sure. We'll see where it goes, but obviously there's a lot of corruption no matter where you're at. If you could get the warden, politicians, administrative officials from the prisons in one room and you could sit down in front of them and tell them something, what would it be?
I think I would tell them that they're not doing enough. That we are way too far in time to be this far back.
100%. Doesn't make sense that it's this way. This is shit that you hear from the early 2000s and the 90s of the corruption, but now it's being outed everywhere. This has all been happening. This is all the fact that our tax-paying dollars, I'm paying for COs to go to work and prey on women inside the facilities, and I'm fucking paying for that. And these dudes are hooking up with 20 plus inmates in there, bringing in contraband and drugs, and here I am paying for this?
Yeah, you are. I think they should stop sending so many people to prison for stupid shit.
Violence, 100%.
Oh, absolutely. Support.
Violence, 100%. You're going. Anything kid, women related, gone.
Yeah. But an empty bag of drugs that you're scraping and then having to dilute twice to see if it's even drugs you're giving 7 years in prison for, but you're not arresting a fucking CO for sending me a dick pic? Really? That's some dumb shit.
After everything you've been through, everything that you've gone through, the fighting, the battles that you're dealing with right now, what does justice look like for you at the end? Where do you want this to end?
I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think that I would hope that it would end with IDOC being struck and all of their top people being taken out, because I don't think they deserve to be there, and I think they're the problem, but that'll never happen. I wish that we weren't incarcerating people on such mass levels. I wish that the cops were not the way that they were. And ultimately, I wish that Bree, Derrick, and all of them were not in charge. But at the end of the day, I can't stop that. You know, I just hope that that's what happens to them. I hope that hitting them left and right and back and forth and undermining everything they're doing with all of these other places that I work with is hurting them enough, you know, just chipping away until eventually maybe some of the system crumbles.
Since you're, outing this whole entire story, what do you hope happens for the future of female inmates?
I hope that they make it so that women are believed, that it doesn't stay in-house, that there's an ombudsman's office that gets reported to instead of internal, and it all being kept with the cops that are in charge of each other and
doing it.
I hope that there's access to, victim services, and I hope some of those women do get economic impact, some kind of reimbursement for the shit that's happened to us. Like, It sucks. I can live without it because I work jobs and I take care of myself. But at the end of the day, I should have had counseling. I should have had somebody that was there going through this so that I don't repeat the future. And that's what I think needs to happen for them.
If you had one final question, if you had a message for any young, struggling woman that's finding herself on the path that you are, what would you like to leave them?
I guess I would just like to say, don't get caught up in prison politics and ratting. Like, if you know that something's wrong, stand up for yourself and say something. Find somebody that'll listen to you. I think that it's important that you stand up for yourself.
Thank you so much for this conversation. It takes a lot of courage to do what you're doing. I'm blown away by the layers of laws and facts and information and evidence that you have built from all of this. You probably are the perfect person to be able to do this. It takes a special soul to stand up to the establishment, especially somebody that's been in the trenches your whole entire life and have fought for every single thing that you have now. It gives me goosebumps. Even you probably, the stats or the statistics of you making it to this point were probably terrifying at some point, especially being introduced to drugs at the age you were with a 14-year-old mom at that point, and your mom being pregnant, and obviously later on getting introduced to everything. You shouldn't be sitting in this chair. You probably shouldn't even have made it to or through prison with everything that you've gone through. And then the fact that now you're working with a law firm that fought to change a law here in Idaho to help protect women. What an accomplishment. I feel that the battles that you have fought your whole entire life were to lead you to get to this moment, to fight for these women. I want to commend you for that. And it is an incredible thing that you have done.
Thank you.
Don't ever stop fighting for everybody's rights, for all the women that are out there. Fuck these dirty ass predator COs. I will be the first to say that and stand up, especially for women. Being a girl dad, I couldn't even imagine if my daughters were calling me, telling me what's happening and what you had to go through and live through inside of there. And there's women that are dealing with it today as we speak. And so it's a horrible thing. And I commend you for doing this and coming on. It takes a lot to put yourself out there like that and to be very vulnerable and tell your story. I'm sure I already know, and my daughter here, we would love to bring you back on. I want to dive more into your childhood. I think there's a lot of people out here that have very similar stories to what you've been through. And I would, if you're ever open for it, I'd like to bring you back on and maybe just circle and focus on that. And just, it's not very often I'm in a loss of words from hearing people's stories, because I get to hear some pretty wild chaos stuff. And you have one of those stories. You'll make that list now of just absolutely mind blown. I was not ready. Was not ready for half of what we were diving into, but I appreciate everything. And I want to thank you so much for this opportunity and this conversation.
For sure.
I'm sure we'll be talking again. I'd like to talk to a couple of your friends that are helping you along the way.
I have one that said, the case manager that I had, he said he would talk to you, and then I'll ask Cherie when I leave if she
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much for this opportunity. This was great. We're not leaving yet.
Oh, okay.
So take your thumbnail and we'll get you to sign the wall. You get to sign the